Yeah. OnChain revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Roll call in advance, you don't even gotta mention. I swap it in the deck, you're not bullish enough. Traded in the size, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Yagobi. OnChain revolution, networking the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity. Flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gonna end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me, no way. OnChain revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain revolution. OnChain. OnChain revolution, Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recap, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the spec. Ordinals the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystem. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live from the OnChain Hour, and this one is going to be as good as it can get, because right now we have Bitcoin flirting with 109. It's under it, it's over it, it's right there. We have Ethereum sitting around 3,940, XRP back in the 270s, Hyperliquid bouncing back today, up 7%, sitting around $43. Wilfi kind of sitting flat like it has been. Aster, Aster's doing what Aster's doing, right? It's up almost 6%. It's leading all dexes in volume right now. It's obviously number one. It's Binance on chain. That's what everyone's saying. So that one is something that I think is going to lead us out of a sideways market here. I think that's a new indicator. I used to say the indicator was Fartcoin. Fartcoin has lost everything. It is down. Let's actually see how Fartcoin's doing now. Yeah, Fartcoin sitting. Where are you, Fartcoin? Yeah, Fartcoin is just not doing good. Not really coming up on my list here, but okay, they're at 56 cents. Wow, up 3% on the day. So this is one of those markets, guys, where we're all expecting Q4 to be absolutely amazing. I don't know anymore, right? I'm still expecting December to be strong, but October, November, we're gonna have to wait. We're 4 days away from the last day of September, so we're gonna see some price action, whether that's to the downside or the upside. But I think it's either way, it's gonna be pretty drastic, right? And I am expecting us to kind of head back to the downside. Everyone's saying Bitcoin 107. I do hope we just go down, touch Bitcoin 107, and then we kind of get out of there. I'm ready for some upward momentum here. I'm ready for some excitement in the markets. I'm ready for new projects to launch. I'm ready for different stuff. But speaking of new projects to launch, we did have one yesterday. We had Plasma Chain. I've been over there playing around with that. Yagobi's been there hanging out with me, and we found maybe a couple. I don't want to call them like opportunities because we don't know, they're meme coins, but there's a couple situations over there to monitor, and we're going to go through all that, how you guys can get started with Plasma Chain. But it reminds me very similar of Abstract Chain in the sense of it's fast and stuff like that, but they're both EVM, so you can just use your MetaMask. There is no depositing in like Abstract did, though. You can actually just use your MetaMask on everything. So like I said, we're going to cover all that. It's really exciting. that to get started, we do have a whole bunch of ETFs that are hopefully dropping in October. We're going to cover that as well. But without further ado, let's get this show started. Bringing my partner, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? How you doing in this sideways bullshit of a market?
Yes, the price action is really just, I'm just gonna start using the 4-hour and daily because there's no point in using the hour at this point. It just seems to be like a downtrend momentum that's continuing. But I'm okay with it with the news that came in. We've kind of known this, but we're getting closer and closer to that final deadline for some of these ETFs in October 10th, I think it is. And there's some big ones. So Solana, XRP, and I think there's about 4 more. And then I think maybe like 10 more days after that, there's like maybe like 20 that are lined up. So there's a lot that I think the ETFs can really ignite the altcoin market. And that's kind of why we have that headline today, right? And I think that we've talked about that being a catalyst, but we're right around the corner. So it makes sense for this dump to kind of happen before that.
Yeah, 100%. And just looking at, virtual Bacon's tweet, and we can kind of get into that a little bit. But let's get the show started. Let's jump right into the first thing right here. Alt market liquidity, boom, on October 10th. ETF deadline, AVAX Tokenization Tether plasma chain. All right, so first thing first on that list is the SEC has 92 crypto ETF filings pending. Final deadline start October with Solana, Doge, Dot, AVAX, and Link. So this is really coming from my guy, Virtual Bacon. So let's give him the credit he deserves here. Let me just bring up my screen real quick with the volume and make sure that everything is good with that. Okay, I'm just going to play this. It's really quick. It's only a minute and a half, but he really breaks it down. So
the current list of crypto ETFs in the US is massive. This is the latest that I found coming from the Bloomberg expert analyst, James Seyfarth. And this is on August 28th, 2 weeks ago. So there are currently 92 line items in the backlog at the SEC. So all the Solana spot ETFs you see from Grayscale, VanEck, 21 shares, etc. Most of them are October 10th and October 16th. These are the final deadlines. So next month, Solana ETFs, Solana spot ETFs will come. Most likely this is going to happen. However, this is not exclusive to Solana like I was saying in the beginning, because look at the XRP ETFs. They are all around the same week as well. And the Doge ETF, we have the HBAR ETF. The final deadlines are about in November. Then shortly after that, we will have Polkadot, AVAX, Chainlink, basically all of these expedited fast track ETF candidates will get to have their ETF approvals like month after month, starting from October. There's going to be a huge amount of ETF hype. Don't get blinded by these. When they happen, they will all come, starting from October. Each month, you're going to hear something new about like institution adopting one of these main coins and their ETFs coming out. You don't have to exclusively buy that coin because this is basically the new normal, okay?
The new normal. That's the one part I definitely didn't want to miss. So he said the ETFs will be dropping day after day and being the new normal. How do you feel about that? Like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. So he goes into his actual post on X, and I think he says, don't feel like you have to FOMO into some of these coins because, and trying to select the precise, you're going to miss out basically because it's going to be a lot. I mean, he said like 90, right? And so that's a ton of ETFs. But I think that, this is going to benefit stuff like Hedera, right? There was one in there and then, Hedera is going to be, it's already kind of like this corporate institutions like it a lot because there's a lot of like foundation from a institutional like attributes, right? They like that kind of stuff. But how does that benefit like a token like Hustle? Because Hustle, is an AI product that could be anywhere, right? And it's they're going to be bridging at all these EVM chains. Maybe they end up there or something like that, right? And institutions are going to look at AI products, right? And I think they'll pour into stuff like that, right? So I think these ETFs are going to benefit some of the mid caps and even the micro caps if we get that low.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any micro caps. I think they're going to have to be you know, over $1 billion to even get looked
No,
at as an
I'm not
ETF.
saying that the ETF will become.
Oh, I got you.
Say
I
it could
got you.
trickle down if that micro
I
cap
got you.
token is in that ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? Because liquidity will increase for that specific token. So
Yeah, so let's just say Solana gets the ETF right now. It's about $194. It pumps it to $400. There's a lot of people holding Solana that would potentially get into something like Hustle. That's basically what you're saying.
yeah, and you know, Hustle could be on AVAX, or Hustle could be on. They announced that they could, you know, they're going to be adding the EVM tech stack in the future, so that could take them anywhere. I just used, you know, those as an example because they were on that ETF list, right? But I think it can affect those type of projects in a positive way because there'll be more money to spend as like the token goes up and people can take profit within that ecosystem, right? And they'll be like, what's hot here? What, you know, what has substance?
Yeah. Yeah, because then it becomes house money. I was just using Hustle as a you know, just an example as well. So it's just like, you know, if you're holding AVAX gets the ETF. Now you feel like you're holding house money. You put let's just say 10 grand in. Your 10 grand is now 2,200. You're gonna feel you have 12, at least, you know, $12,000 to play with when it gets to 22,000, right? So
Exactly.
it's going to be, you're going to be sitting there. You're going to have liquidity, and you're going to be able to play. You're going to be able to get into riskier assets because you already secured the bag technically, right? And now you can actually go and grow your bags in different ways, different assets, and get into higher risk on. And that's what we want. That's where we need to be to kind of see people in the market to make money. Because like, yeah, no one's really, when someone says, yo, I made like, you know, 40% on my Solana holdings, it's like, that's not fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like that's not fun yet. Like, I want to see more. And I do think this is the last cycle for stuff like that, though, right? I don't think you're going to see the, you know, that's the getting 40% on your Solana or 40% on your gain in a year. That's going to be the new normal in about 4 or 5 years. That's next cycle's new normal, in my opinion. But this cycle, I think there's that one last bullish momentum on finding the gems that will be those 40% gains in the next cycle.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we've never had something like this before to where, you know, institutional products like ETFs or, you know, treasury companies are pumping a specific coin. Typically before it's, you know, maybe institutionals behind the curtain were getting involved with, you know, some of these blue chips, which would bring, you know, profits up for whales, and then they would trickle down into these more riskier things. But now institutions are starting it and they have big money. So it's almost kind of like retail might get called back to the space through just getting directly into those riskier assets, right? Because now they're like, wow, people are playing more on AVAX. AVAX shot up like, you know, like 10%, 20%, maybe 30%. And now people are playing with these meme coins over there. Let me see what the opportunity is. And then XRPL and you know, then it goes down the line, right? As people enjoy the profits and start to gamble a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and then on top of that, right, you might see a lot of you know, people out there who don't have a coin yet that are just like, you know what, let's do it in November, right? So potentially we could have ETF October and then airdrop November, right? Airdrop November would be MetaMask, it would be Abstract, it would be Rainbow coin, and every product out there that is worried about Hester Pierce kind of laying down the law and saying if you do not decentralize, you need to register as an exchange. And that is scary to a lot of these wallets. That is scary to a lot of these dApps that are out there that are like, damn, we need a coin so we can have governance, which will allow us to pass the Howey test.
Yeah, and that would be absolutely amazing if they did do the airdrops in Q4, because then you have catalysts that are like kind of just feeding off of each other as well. And now you get this momentum of just, you know, liquidity flowing around, and that's where multiple ecosystems can be thriving at the same time. And we want that again because that was fun.
Yeah, it was very fun. That's kind of where we got to get to, and I do think we get there. If it's not Q4, it's 100% Q1. I'm so bullish on Q1. Q1 is my new Q4. I know, yeah, people say that you pushed it back, but I just think that, you know, with the sense of Jerome Powell being gone next year, I just think that there's going to be a lot of momentum going into, all right, maybe we didn't get the rate cuts that we wanted in Q4, but I think, you know, we can just all plan to get a new Fed chairman that's going to immediately go into quantitative easing, and just looking at markets are forward looking, right? So that's why I say January, February, March could be bullish, and then maybe it actually happened, and then we have a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event there. But I'm actually really bullish on January, February, and March right now.
Yeah, that could play out that way.
Canary immediately filed an S1 for a Solana ETF that holds stakes in staked Solana. So right after this news dropped, you did see Canary like, all right, time to put in our last minute ETFs here. This is a staked Solana. I don't think the staked Ethereum, staked Solana, staked version of these coins get listed until next year as an ETF, but I do think that the spot versions of them, the one-to-one ETFs with the redemptions and stuff like that, do happen this year. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Yeah, 100%. Avalanche partners with Mirae Asset to tokenize funds. Hong Kong's OSL acquires Indonesia's Coin Sangyang exchange, which is one of the top exchanges in Indonesia. What do you think this is about? So Avalanche, basically they want to be the RWA chain.
Yeah, I mean they've made this pretty apparent a while ago, right? They talked about putting documents on their chain and other RWA products, and so this is just the next step of what they've really envisioned Avalanche to be. So I think this is a big deal in the sense of now they're actually kind of doing it in an area that like we've expected them to. But in our space there was kind of a lot of talk and then waiting for people like teams to execute, right? But these bigger teams are starting to execute on a lot of these things that they envisioned 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? But they've been in the headlines about them with partnering and stuff like that. So now we're starting to see that happen with Avalanche. I think Avalanche is going to be a big winner in the future in our space. They have all the right connections with whether it's with the governments or institutions. Even like the way they market has been really strong in my opinion. So I think they're going to be a big winner in the future.
Yeah, I agree. I actually couldn't agree more. I think Avalanche it could be a really good, strong player in the RWA area. Potentially insurance companies are apparently using them and stuff like that. And it's funny. I was looking at the top categories. We can get into this later. But insurance and marketing were like the top biggest winners in the last 24 hours. Who would have thought that? Insurance coins and marketing coins were the biggest winners. But it's all happening over there on Avalanche. So it's kind of to this point here.
Yeah, and I mean this is good, guys. I mean, crypto Twitter doesn't think that's sexy, but to me, that's good. That's showing that the space is maturing. Another thing that came out, and crypto Twitter isn't really talking much about it, is Story Protocol is starting to do more stuff. They just partnered with Moonbirds to IP Moonbirds, right? So that is a sign of maturity. And also another example, just like what Avalanche's headline is here, with Story Protocol doing what they envisioned, a while ago, right? So they're starting to execute on these things. Azuki, Moonbirds, who knows? Maybe $1 billion cat gets IP from Story Protocol. So I like this because this is the stuff that we've talked about, saying that our space needs these things.
Yeah, 100%. I actually can't wait to get in that. We'll do that before Jay today. The U.S. we have some data, some economic data here. The U.S. reported the August 2025 core PCE, which is the price index year over year at 2.9, matching expectations. The overall, though, it did rise from 2.7 to basically 2.9 year over year. Month to month was about 0.3, so it's a little higher than last month. But it does look like the market did like it because now we're back to 85 now. I think we were in the 70s yesterday. I could be wrong, but now it seems like we're back in 85.
I think we were low 80s yesterday, but
okay.
I think manipulation again. I just feel like that's what it's going to be about. I think most people are pretty confident we're going to get a rate cut in October, unless something like huge comes in to make the Fed not be able to do it.
Yeah, 70% chance of a cut in December, and then January is basically a hold here at 60%. But we'll see. I have a feeling they're going to kind of screw us with one of these, whether it's October or December, and then potentially January is a cut. But we'll see. All right, so this is interesting. U.S. regulators have examined sharp movements in stock prices of companies before they announced plans to raise money to buy cryptocurrency for signs of potential insider trading. It does look like you are seeing a lot of FINRA, for instance. They're coming in now and they're looking into this. These DATs, man, they're not they're not doing the right thing here, because they are letting people know they're going to do stuff before they do it, whether that's the board or whatever. But people are taking advantage of that, and it does feel like it is people who maybe don't play in the markets as much, because you can't do that. You can't use information and that you get beforehand and trade on it. You just can't do it in the SEC and FINRA. And maybe they can get away with it in crypto, but they're going to crack down on this, and some of these treasury companies might get delisted because of this. How do you feel about the potential DATs that we've been seeing? SharpLink won't be in one of them, potentially in some trouble here.
I like it. Not necessarily SharpLink. I think that would, be an issue. But I mean, I do like the ethics of it, right? They're staying true to that, and maybe because they see how the administration is kind of lenient, not necessarily lenient, but yeah, I would say lenient and favorable to the digital asset industry. Maybe they got lackadaisical on this and said, hey, look, it's crypto and we can, get ahead of this or whatever. But at the end of the day, it falls under the SEC of a pretty black and white rule set, right, with that. But I do think that I like this, because I think this is going to play into our space, and some people are not going to like that, but we asked for clarity, and we're going to get it. And I think it actually makes our space more respected. I do. I think it makes it more respected, especially if you have someone that's trying to help the industry, but also make sure that, rules and laws are followed, and, it's fairly played, right? I think that is going to give more respect to our industry, and actually, maybe get normies to look at our industry in a different light, into where they won't be so hesitant to learn about it. Or because right now there's a lot that don't even want to learn. There's some that do because they know that it's the future, but some, they just have constantly heard from mainstream media that like crypto's a scam, it's all these things, and now all of a sudden it flips the script, and so we need this kind of stuff to happen. Obviously, you don't want overreach. I think that's where you got to kind of hope that they don't enter that, and that's a fine line, right? But I think Hester Pierce knows our space well enough to kind of regulate it the right way.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And I think that if we had the ETFs, and this is the problem with the SEC not passing these things back in July and June, if we had the ETFs back then, I don't think we'd have the number of DATs we have today, right? Because of that aspect of like, just put the ETFs
Exposure.
out there. Yeah, because like if I want to hold Solana right now, and I only do this stuff on the stock market, which a lot of these TradFi guys do, then I'm buying this because I want exposure to Solana. But instead, I can just go buy the Solana ETF. So I think this is actually the SEC that caused this problem, and now they have to go and clean this up, because I don't think we'd see this many. We still might see some of this action happen, but I don't think we would have seen this many DATs right now. No chance in hell that we would see this many DATs right now if we had ETFs. I think once ETFs come, you're going to see DATs kind of maybe dump, because now people, very similar to what happened when these trusts from Grayscale had these Bitcoin trusts, people dumped the trusts and immediately entered a BlackRock's ETF. So I think we're going to see that again, and I think a lot of these DATs are going to get hit hard. And the only reason people are in this stuff because there's no ETF. So the SEC has to look themselves in the mirror right now and say, okay, maybe we should have passed this stuff in June.
Yes, I agree with that. And that is kind of the exposure that the TradFi guys can have, but they're realizing that, some of them are getting wrecked too at the same time. Not all of them are up only. And so the ETF should kind of balance that back out. I think there's still going to be treasury companies, and even a little bit more riskier ones as well. But the people don't have to necessarily take that position if they want exposure, right? That's the whole idea that you just broke down. And so, do I blame them? I don't know. Maybe it's kind of standard procedure to kind of wait it out. I don't know. Maybe it's to kind of let the markets know that like who's in charge situation. I would hate that if that's the case. Maybe it's like tradition, kind of, just waiting forever. But yeah, getting them approved. Also, maybe at the right kind of time was a part of the plan too. Q4 makes sense. Yeah. They feel like Q4 is going to be a more prosperous time for the markets. Maybe that's why they're doing it. Either way, well, it could have probably been prevented a bit, right?
One thing I've been hearing though is they don't want to pick a winner. If they go out and they put an XRP ETF out because the Cardano one isn't ready, then they kind of pick the winner. XRP kind of gets all the attention for a while. If the Cardano one is ready and the XRP one is ready, you're going to see a lot of people. So I think what they wanted to do was very similar to what Gary Gensler did with the Bitcoin ETFs. He waited for there to be 13 filings for Bitcoin ETFs, and then he put them all out at one time. BlackRock ended up winning anyway, but now we have so I do think that's why they're going to see 90 ETFs, and 13 of them are going to be Solana, 12 of them are going to be Cardano, and so on and so on. But I think that, you're going to see they don't want to pick winners, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't pick winners. So
yeah, but they should have like a threshold of like, okay, once it hits this many, then we're going to go. And maybe they do, but maybe either the threshold or a time, a time limit, which seems to be like the 10th because that's the final deadline.
100%. REX-Osprey. So I don't know how this company gets kind of away with this stuff, but REX-Osprey ETF staking ETF has been listed on the Cboe BZX exchange, becoming the first U.S. Ethereum staking ETF structured under the investment company. So we do know that they don't use the real asset. They just kind of go off the price of the asset, very similar to how Alibaba and a lot of these Chinese stocks trade, because it's not the real stock underneath it. They just go by the price.
Derivative.
And use a derivative in the Cayman Islands, but that's how Alibaba and all these Chinese stocks trade in the stock market. They're very similar to what REX-Osprey is doing with the ETH staking ETF. So I'm guessing you're just going to get a some type of reward each year for the staking rewards or something. I don't know how this is going to work, but it is the first one, and what normally happens, you see this first, and then you see the real one later. So it's bad. That could be big.
Yeah, I think that people are going to eat this up because I mean, to them, it's like a dividend rolled into this, right? It's basically getting a stock with a dividend rolled in, which, I mean, there are stocks with dividends that you get every quarter and all this stuff, but I just think it's going to be attractive to them because they know that they're going to get a certain percentage, whatever the agreement is with REX-Osprey, not with the individual necessarily, but like, the brokerages, right? Whatever they're going to offer their clients. I imagine it's probably going to be something like 3.5% or something. What do you think?
Probably around there, 2.5%, 3.5%. I think that's a very fair to think. But the best part about this, though, is if they give you more shares of this, right? So if you're staking for Ethereum, they're keeping the Ethereum and they're giving you more shares. So that's something you don't really see with a dividend. I don't think they pay you in stock. I think they pay you in dollars,
cash,
right?
Yeah.
It's cash. So this is actually different because if you're somebody who just wants to accumulate Ethereum, you don't care about the price. You have a 20-year outlook on it, and you just want to get as much as possible. You don't care because you're getting more Ethereum every year. So if your goal is to just keep stacking Ethereum, these type of staking ETFs are the best case scenario. You can set it, forget it, come back in 20 years, kind of see where you're at.
Yeah. And I think this is going to be one of those things that people ask about their, each other's portfolios in like 20 years. And they're just kind of like, yeah, I got into ETH early on an ETF that I could stake, staking ETF, right? And then they'll be like, dang, and see, like, they made out like a bandit, because at that point the value of ETH should be much higher.
Much higher. I mean, I'm expecting in 20 years Ethereum to be close to $1 million per ETH.
Woo.
I mean, that's just kind of what I'm saying. I mean, 20 years from now, it's huge, long way. I think, I'm thinking it's going to be 60,000 next cycle. 69,000 is kind of my target for next cycle, and I'm kind of basing it off Bitcoin, right, on how Bitcoin is. But I'm also including, the mass adoption into that as well. That's why, obviously Ethereum has a lot more coins than Bitcoin, so the price isn't going to be fair. But if you add mass adoption in there, then you kind of get these price actions. So that's kind of why my target for this cycle is 18,000. My target for next cycle is 69,000, and then potentially 700,000 in 12 years. But we'll see. So we had some DEX problems. Aster having issues. They put out a tweet that says, "We are aware of abnormal price movements on the XPL perp trading pair. Rest assured, all funds are safe." The CZ word. "We are conducting a full review and will compensate any affected users for loss. Aster has fully reimbursed users affected by abnormal price movements in the XLP perp trading pair, with compensation distributed in USDT. So everything is settled now. Everything is fixed. XPL is the plasma token. We're going to be digging into plasma here in a few minutes. But how do you feel about Aster? 1, having the problem; 2, fixing the problem; and 3, reimbursing everyone who dealt with that problem?
Yeah, I don't. question that they're not going to be able to fix pretty much any issue that they have because they are backed by Binance. But it is interesting that they kind of ran into this. Hyperliquid actually ended up really kind of taking over the volume for XPL. I don't know if it was because of this, but it started to be a pretty big difference in terms of the volume there. I think they did 650 million in volume for XPL spot. And then obviously this was an issue on the Aster side of things. So this is a little win for Hyperliquid, but at the same time, I don't think they did anything malicious. I think it would be really dumb for them to attack anybody. Like I said, I think they just kind of want to just stick to their own and just produce good results, which they have done for a very long time. But it's a little win for them because now they kind of get to flex a little bit, which they haven't been able to do for I guess a week and a half or 2 weeks.
Yeah, 100%, and they definitely deserve a win. The coin went from $56 when Arthur Hayes dropped it all the way down like almost $39, but now back up to sitting around 42. Aster did dip on that yesterday. It went from 220 down to 185, I think 182 maybe, and now it's kind of back up to $2. But this is something I want to do daily because I think it's really interesting. Perp volume in 24 hours, you have Aster sitting at 46 million, Lighter sitting at 18 million, beating Hyperliquid again, bro. What do you think about Lighter being the quiet brother of these tokens here, sitting there just above Hyperliquid? So I gotta figure out if Lighter has a token, because if they don't, that could be why people are just could be
trying to farm it.
Yeah.
So I think they're getting the attention because of the Aster Hyperliquid stuff, right? I mentioned this yesterday.
No token.
So they're benefiting from that, and probably people probably I probably should start farming that, right? I mean, they've probably been around for a while if they're pulling that volume as well. But yeah, Hyperliquid's win was very specific to XPL. It wasn't the total volume, as you can see, but they're okay with that, I think. And like I said, if I was them, I'd be like, I'm okay being where I'm at right now. You
love me where you're at right now.
Yeah,
you're doing really, really good.
Exactly. They're not paying attention to the daily, drama and stuff like that, in my opinion, or they shouldn't be. Because it's at the end of the day, even if they kind of fade off into not in everybody's mind share or at the forefront of everybody's mind share, and they're more has that Aave energy or something like that, they're gonna be okay with that. I mean, dude, that's very successful still, right? So I would hope that they just stay out of the drama, even though they're kind of being forced into it, right? But there was a post that I saw on crypto Twitter saying that the volume of XPL, them dominating that coin could really get under CZ's skin. And I think this is a test for us to pay attention to CZ and see if he does really get salty or bitter towards these kind of situations, right?
It's so funny because I always saw CCZ as this calm,
me too,
Zen guy, and then when people talk about him, he's like, I just picture him throwing trash cans in the office and smashing windows. I don't think he's like that, right?
No, but I think he's more of kind of the mastermind type of person, right? And he's
collective.
Yeah. And sometimes those people. Sometimes most times those people are way more not necessarily sinister, but effective in terms of putting a plan together and executing to hurt their competitors and stuff.
100%. Let's look at the 7-day volume. You are seeing Aster number one, $101 billion in trading volume. Hyperliquid number two with 72 million, and Lighter number three. Jupiter, man, 5 billion. Very, very quiet down there with Paradox and Edge in between there. And then you take it over to the 30-day. Hyperliquid still winning in the 30-day. Obviously, Aster didn't have a coin then, but Lighter in that second spot. Aster right behind them though. Here, let's just say the month of December. Who do you expect to be number one? Maybe the Aster stuff has kind of moved on. The Lighter stuff is going on. Hyperliquid maybe has that huge unlock of tokens. Maybe their volume is there. Do you see potentially still this being the top three, or do you potentially could one of these other ones could edge these top players out?
Anything could happen, in terms of a lower one coming up, but if Lighter is doing an airdrop, then I think that they would probably have a good shot at taking the crown. But this is definitely interesting to see. It's kind of like the Launchpad Wars a little bit, but more aggressive, I think. You know, switching kind of who the leader is, right? So in the last 30 days, $292 billion have been traded. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's
And
crazy.
think about it too. Let's just say Hyperliquid makes 0.1%, right? I mean, on each trade or whatever it is. I mean, that's still a massive amount of money. Like, you know what I mean? Like 1% would be 2.9 billion. And then you have, you know, let's just say like 10% of that, you're still making, you know, potentially $200 million every 30 days. Like, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, they're making tons of money off of fees for sure. And like people are saying, you know, there's a lot of people using leverage, right? And a lot of that, as you can see by the volume, is happening there.
Yep. Let's move along, though. So you have $10 trillion Vanguard to let brokerage clients access crypto ETFs per Eleanor Terrett. So Vanguard is one of the laggards here. They fought it. They even fired their CEO, or he took a leave of absence, and they put someone new in charge. But still, I mean, we're talking 6 months after that happened. They finally have this. And my wife used to work for Vanguard in a different aspect, and she used to tell me if someone called about crypto place, they had a number to send them, like basically, hey, call this, and they were basically how to take your clientele somewhere else. Basically, they were going to help you transfer to somewhere that did align this. So that's how much they hated crypto. Not only would they tell you no, but they would tell you, hey, let's get you out of here.
That's so crazy because the whole CEO situation was because they skipped the Bitcoin ETF, right? So they still stuck to their guns with it, and that's weird to me.
Yeah.
But now they're here, and this is a big deal because now you have someone that really actually is the competitor to BlackRock, and you can't really say that very much. Vanguard is actually like manages just right under the amount that BlackRock manages, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these are the two giants in the industry. So for them to start to open up the crypto ETFs is going to be big. I imagine they're going to probably stick to, Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum initially, but let's see what else they open up to. That'd be interesting to see how risky they get. I don't think they get very risky though.
No, well, Vanguard's different than BlackRock in the sense what they were the first ones to create the kind of like the index fund 401ks. I think they're called like these I forget what they're called. There's something funds, right? And they're basically become a fund you can pick for your 401k, and they were the first place to do that. That's how they got so big. So they have millions of different funds. My wife was telling me there's so many different ones, and some of them are just like one ticker away from each other, and there's so many, and they could be just like one or two items different from fund to fund. Now imagine if they add, every fund potentially could add, 0.1% of crypto, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or something. Potentially down the line, you might see, every single fund in the world have it, a tiny bit of crypto in there, but that could be billions of dollars, and you times that by 100. I mean, it could get pretty crazy.
That tiny bit is probably going to be Bitcoin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant. It could be Ethereum down the line too, because you can stake it and they can potentially earn that way as well. That's kind of why I didn't say Bitcoin. But yeah, you're right. It's probably going to be Bitcoin.
Especially in the beginning. But, if they're probably going to open up and then get to some sort of risk level and then probably just stop, honestly. They're very traditional, conservative type of company, right? So
we talked about DATs earlier. There's a new DAT in town called AlphaTON Capital made its first ton purchase. We do know ton is the coin of Telegram, worth $30 million after closing a $71 million financing round, positioning itself as one of the largest global ton holders. So this is my first time seeing this. I don't really go into the DATs anymore because it's just not fun news. But this was the first one I've ever seen with ton. This is huge in my opinion for Telegram's token here.
Yeah, and Telegram's one of those hybrids, right? It's kind of like PayPal, except for I think they are they're willing to be a bit more aggressive with the digital asset market. But what's really attractive to investors and stuff like that is their user base, right? I mean, look, everybody uses, it's crazy because you come from the corporate world and everybody uses like these internal messaging systems, right? Slack is one that was really big, and you know, there's different ones as well, but like in Web3, no one has their own. I mean, I'm sure some do. Everybody uses Telegram, right? You literally use Telegram to set up meetings and all these things for communications. And so because of that, they just have a lot of leverage to do very well in this space. You know what I mean? And so I think that this is a big deal, but I think that they're going to have all types of approaches to our industry. And I think that they're going to have so many opportunities to be just to create revenue streams for Telegram and the Ton ecosystem.
Yeah, 100%. I'm really bullish on this. This might be one of the ones that do really well in the future because it does have that Telegram backing. So we'll see if they, and a lot of these companies too, I'm hearing that potentially they want to build for the asset that they have. So this is just a, you know, one of these SPACs, right? What happens if they build something for the Ton coin that has to do with Telegram, right? Like we might see a lot of that happening in the future as well. You buy the asset first, then you build on top of it. So, but we'll see. All right, this next one is funny. Messages suggest Luke Dash Jr., anti-ordinal, anti-rune, everything besides Bitcoin, floated a hard fork to let a trusted multisig committee retroactively censor blockchain data to save Bitcoin. We do know that he lost 200 Bitcoin in a hack 3-4 years ago, and I think it was you were telling me yesterday that you think that potentially he wants to figure out a way to get those Bitcoin back and maybe even set the chain back before ordinals came around. So all that is not on the chain. What do you think about the Luke Dash Jr. Bitcoin Cash type of fork here?
Oh, it's horrible. Like, you know what I mean? Like Ocean Mining is probably like having meetings if they should disassociate themselves with them.
Yeah.
You know, obviously there was kind of poking fun about like, you know, him rolling the chain back that far but you know, he did lose 200 Bitcoin, which is I think like $22 million in today's money. That hurts a lot. But more than that, it's funny because like he talks about like, you know, the health of Bitcoin and all these things, but now he's talking about like, you know, censoring with multi-sigs. Like what, you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't make any sense, his approach. And I'm sure that he hates that this got leaked, you know, whoever leaked these private messages, but he's crazy. And I think like we've all thought that, but this certifies him signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he could potentially get really rich off a Bitcoin fork if he forks Bitcoin, and who knows, right? You might see a lot of these maxis say, you know, this is the real Bitcoin.
They're not gonna they're not gonna go with him. Luke Dash Jr. is not gonna be a leader for any Bitcoin maxi group. He might be a part of, like, they use him as like a pawn or to scream and you know, make people mad that like to put art on Bitcoin.
Peter Schiff says silver has outperformed Bitcoin since his last post, which was 2 hours prior, and urging to sell Bitcoin and buy silver. Will you be someone who is selling your Bitcoin to buy old silver to put around your neck and be a platinum selling artist or something? I don't know.
No, I'm not gonna be buying those silver. But I mean, like, hey, look, he's got some dubs, man. Like gold has been on a tear, right? So.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really been thrown into the faces like he usually does of Bitcoin and stuff like that, right? But yeah, I don't know. There's people that are buying silver, I'm sure, you know, because they expect it to run up, you know, because gold has kind of done its thing. But people are expecting Bitcoin to find some sort of footing very soon and eventually start to run up as well. So
yeah, 100%. Really looking forward to that for sure. All right, let's jump into the crypto fear and greed. Man, I got this all messed up over here. The crypto fear and greed. So last week we're at a 52. Yesterday we're at a 41. We're low. We're pretty damn low. Where do you
38?
Way lower than that, man. We're at 32. Yeah, this is sad. Sad day.
No, it's not. It's all manipulated. It's all set up for October 10th for that date range. This is all selling everything down, get everybody in retail scared, have everybody sell down. Institutions buy Bitcoin at 107. Institutions buy Bitcoin at 108. They buy Ethereum at 37. And then next month, they're going to probably, sell some of it. But then like it continually rises after that, mid of October.
100%. Yeah, I was yelling and crying about the 50s, and now seeing the 30s. I want to go back to the 50s, but let's get into that Bitcoin price action brought to you guys by the great guys over at Artura.finance. Artura, they just launched their coin yesterday. It is official, and they will be potentially bridging it over to Botonix. They launched it on the base chain, so right now you guys can head over to Aerodrome, and potentially if you want to purchase some ARA tokens, you can go to their X account and you can get that. Let me actually show that for you guys, so you guys can make sure you guys are getting the right one if you do want to do that. So head over to Artura's X account, which is Artura Finance, and this is it right here. And you guys can come here and you can get the right contract address for what they're doing. Go over to Aerodrome and you can purchase that. Pretty simple, pretty easy there. But check out their amazing perp decks. We just talked about how these perp decks are doing hundreds of billions of dollars every month. You potentially could be getting into something really, really early with this. So really bullish on what these guys are building here. And on top of that, there's an airdrop opportunity as well here. So I'm done sugarcoating it. I'm gonna say it is what it is. Potentially you can be able to earn some Botonix, which is the biggest airdrop that has ever happened Bitcoin wise, right? So you guys can get free Bitcoin from Botonix, the biggest Bitcoin airdrop ever, just for participating in their chain, and on their chain is Artura. So you're winning there. So you definitely want to be a part of this if you can. As you can see here, you just need $433 in P&L to be the #1 trader, and you guys can win. Lots and lots of traders here. I do highly recommend getting on this list, whether it's 1 trade, 2 trades, or whatever it is, so you guys can be a part of this ecosystem and potentially be a part of what they're building here. So bullish on Artura, so bullish on the Botonix ecosystem. But that is it. Check it out at Artura.finance.
Absolutely. And these guys are backed by a couple, VCs. You got CMS Holdings, Echo, UTXO Management, and Contingent Ventures there. So other, investors are believing in them as well. But before we get into the Bitcoin price action on the YouTube side, help us out. Smash that like, sub to the channel, all that great stuff. You guys are awesome for helping us out. Turn your notifications on so you know when we go live as well. On the X side, share the space. I know everybody's in Korea or transitioning. Basically, this week was Korea blockchain, and they're just flying down to Singapore, literally probably 6-hour flight to go to Token 2049. Honestly, that's probably a blast because there's tons to do in Korea. Then there's a lot to do in Singapore. I was there last September, so fun times there, I'm sure. But yeah, on the X side, let's share the space, get as many people as possible in here. Same thing with Abstract, and Twitch, Kick, Rumble, and Spotify. Let's take a look at some price action here, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm honest with you guys. I'm transparent. I have been getting wrecked on the price action, guys, just because I like to use the hour chart a lot, and the hour chart has been zero help, even though we're starting there today again. It's just really, and this is one of the things I talk about the hour chart. I say this is the hour chart to me is when the larger time frames start, for me at least. And because it's the starting point of kind of zooming out, it can throw you off, right? Especially whenever there's really volatile times, and that's what I'm going through right now. But just really quick from the hour chart, we are in a buy pressure again. It does look like the MACD is trying to strengthen here a bit. It is Friday morning, right? And Fridays are kind of tricky, but it does seem like this is a straight up sideways too. It's been sideways since midnight. I guess it would be noon yesterday, I should say. Yeah, noon yesterday, Central Time, by the way. Yeah. So honestly, do I think it's going to continue up or not? I'm not sure. The hour chart has not been any help. So let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart is saying that we're still in sell pressure, right? So I'm going to rely more on zooming out here. And zooming out is telling me that we're still in sell pressure, even though it's starting to weaken here a little bit, but need to see some, confirmation of the stochastics, taking us out of being in oversold, at least, heading to that middle section on the 4-hour chart. So as of right now, until I get more, I guess, confidence in these indicators, letting me think that, for example, I need to see this fast line start to curl up even more, and start to head upwards. Then I'll say it's time for us to come out. So as of right now, I'm going to say that probably have that, sideways with continuation to where it has been headed, and that is to the downside. And the same thing with the daily. I'm going to rely more on these larger time frames. The daily seems to be not done with sell down. So Sunday's always tricky, though. Sunday could be reversal day. We'll see what happens over the weekend. Sunday is going to be an important day to see if that happens, right? If we don't get anything the second half of today. But as of right now, like I said, I'm just going to rely on these larger time frames, and the larger time frames are telling me that it still wants to sell down. I know some people have said 107 is a target. Maybe we get that. Maybe we get that before Sunday, and maybe Sunday is the day we turn around. Next week is, goes into the start of October. These months have literally been zooming by. Wednesday is the first, but I imagine it's going to take some days to get back kind of, swinging momentum. And the 10th is that day. That's something that I've been looking at, right, the past couple of days. So we'll see if we can bake in up to that, or if it's going to be more of a, getting bullish around that time. Ethereum, honestly, not too much to say about Ethereum, except for in the hour chart. It does seem a little bit more aggressive to the upside. It did get all the way down to 38.17. So if you caught that bottom, you're probably in some profit here. Again, I'm not going to rely too much on the hour chart. The hour chart has just really been not very consistent with the indicators. The 4-hour does look better. It looks like it wants to close up and get out of this momentum, the sell pressure momentum. So we'll see if it can kind of do that first before Bitcoin, which would be a little bit weird lately. It's been tailing it, but we'll see if that happens there. And then the daily is going to be red, I'm sure. Yeah, daily looks aggressively for sell down. So yeah, so I'm not going to expect anything to the upside today, really, honestly. If it does have some, news headlines or something like that, it could push through on that 4-hour chart. But until this starts to, change and show me that it wants to break down on the daily, I'm going to say sideways at best, and maybe some downtrend. But we'll see. The altcoins in the crypto bubbles, you obviously see Plasma there. Be careful here, because this is obviously a token that launched its chain yesterday. It's up 40%. So you know what happens whenever a token is up consistently like that. Eventually, what goes up has to come down. So be careful with that. But it is having, pretty good success there. Hyperliquid bouncing back, up 6.2% there. You got Mix, which is another perps application on BNB, up 2.2% there. AVAX pulling back 8%, even though the news came out with them. Wilfi up 1.6%. There was something about Wilfi that came out. Oh, the Trump organization or media companies said that they were going to buy back some. So I think people are getting ahead of that a little bit there. Crypto.com up 2.5% there. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much it in terms of the upside here. The downside, as you can see, some of these, that I just went over right there. XRP pulling back 3%, Jupiter pulling back 3%. So everything's about 4 to 1% on the pullback on average, and we're looking at about a 90 to 10% pullback today on the top 100. The top 200, you got Layer 0 here up 10% there. Linea up 8.3%. Fluid up 5.5% there. Some of that pulled back in the top 200. SNEC down 1.4%. Merlin back up 1.6%. That's cool. Is right under 30 cents there. You got Core. Core's been in the news. It's a Bitcoin layer 2 as well. Actually listed on Coinbase too. It is at 37 cents with a 2.7% pullback there. Layer 2s are starting to get, like I mentioned, it's slow, but it's starting to get heated up. I posted about that on my X. Goat Rollup is another layer 2, Bitcoin layer 2 that is in the news too. And so you got Merlin, you got Hemi, you got Goat Rollup, you got Spark. So they're starting to kind of create a little bit of strength there. We'll see if they can get some more momentum. But yeah, so that is the top 200. And the last thing I'll check is in the 300 here. Troll, which is a meme coin on Pump Fund, is up 13.7% there. SQD up 153%. Lombard is part of the Bitcoin ecosystem, up 8%. And they are a wrapped Bitcoin protocol that has yield aggregation, I think, or they partner with aggregators and stuff like that. They are up 8% there. And that is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the crypto bubbles for you guys. I hope that gives you guys some clear vision on where we are currently heading into the weekend. Go do something you enjoy outside of crypto this weekend. You know, I'm going to go play golf. I'm going to watch a big game on Saturday I'm excited about. Maybe take your mind off just a little bit.
What if I don't enjoy anything besides crypto, though?
Then I think you got to see somebody to get some professional help.
I disagree. I think that's the difference. Be obsessed or be average, and stop being average. Let's be obsessed, guys. Let's spend the weekend looking at projects. Let's find a lot of opportunities in the market. You can go Yagobi's route, or you can go mine, and we can kind of see which one wins. But I think I'm doing massive amount of research this cycle. I mean, especially the next couple months, to kind of see potentially where there's opportunity in the market, and I'm going to find it.
Yeah, I say you can do really effective research and at the same time do things you enjoy, like Michael Jordan, the GOAT of what he did. He loved golf. He loved baseball so much that he actually retired from basketball and played both sports. So I think there's multiple strategies.
It's not the off season, bro. It's not the off season.
You don't want to burn yourself
get
out.
dirty. Burn yourself out. This is the time. This is what makes millionaires in January. Do not be in January doing research.
Stay focused, but don't burn yourself out. That's the advice from Yagobi.
Burn, baby, burn. Let's get it. With that first comment of the day, we got my man ASAP Benji, 100% here, number one. Well, we'll see. We'll see at the end of the cycle who was right. I think it's time. It's time to do massive amount of research right now.
No, you do research. You do research.
Massive amounts of research. There's no time for golf.
No, but you got to do effective research. People can work out all the time, but if they're not effective, you know, they might not have the performance that they're wanting.
Hey, some push-ups is better than none push-ups.
Yeah, but I'm saying do some push-ups. Do the effective ones.
Do 30,000. No, I'm just kidding. ASAP Benji is number one. Congratulations, you, my friend. You have your 17th win of the year. Congratulations to you. You know, I think you're in third place securely. Tim Baker's right behind you in fourth with 13. I do have to make sure that is right. I'll have to go back and check that out. But yeah, congratulations to you. By end of the year, I'll have a whole list of what's going on here. But it does seem like WebDro and Lucky Luke are fighting for that Bitcoin frog worth $500. How do you get on this list? Well, you'd be the first comment on YouTube. Tim Baker's here. He says, Benji got it. Good job. Shout out to Tim Baker for being here every single day, man. Win or lose. Bitcoin is truth is here. My guy, Abstract. Abstract is one of the places where I do want to potentially get back into and start seeing if there's opportunities. A lot of those coins are really beaten up. That's going to be the number one place where I'm looking this weekend. I'm going to be looking over there and potentially looking at new, looking at some of the NFTs and seeing if there's any plays over there where I can throw a couple $100 and just leave it and hopefully make it out there. It's definitely on my list to kind of go back over and farm that airdrop at the same time. Satoshi Nakamoto is here. Shout out to Satoshi Nakamoto. Erdrick is here. He said, remember Atomical Prices Winter 2023, dude. Atomicals. Wow, you're an OG, bro. OG.
Adam was it Adam? Adam was the main coin, right? ATOM.
Yeah, ATOM. Yeah.
It got to $100 million market cap. It got to $100 million market cap. I could not believe that.
We were going to split because you can only buy them in like these giant like packs. We were going to split like 10 grand or something to buy a pack. Oh man. Glad we didn't do that. Glasshopper is here. Shout out to Glasshopper. CNX is here. My guy. Meet Physidigital Art. I'm curious, do you work for Physidigital? Me and Yagobi were actually just Phygidital. You work for them at all? Phygidital? That's not a real word, right? That's completely made up.
No, yeah, they made it up. It sounds cool though. Phygidital.
It does. Phygidital. We were looking at that marketplace over there. Do you have any? If you are aware of anybody over there, we'd love to have them on the show. Shout out to Mirrors here, Patty Poo. He said fart coin stinks. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the point of it. Patty Poo is here. He said bull moon not till Sunday, October 5th. Well, we gotta wait for Patty Poo's bull moon to get bullish.
Maybe he's been on point with it. I guess he's messing
really
with those Toro cards or whatever they're called, tarot cards.
Yeah, I see him with a microscope looking in the sky, like, oh, Jupiter's right there. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know what those people do. Do they use microscopes? The tarot card readers? I don't know.
I think they're just good at making stuff up and guessing
more.
What they do is they like guess like the most common things, and then that's what they'll guess, and so you're like, oh my god, I do have a dog.
Yeah. Shout out to Adopted by Bitcoin. He's here. Shout out to you, my friend. AZ Marine is here. October 6th. He's talking about a full. Does everyone now just do tarot card readings and stuff? Like, are we the ones who are messing up here by not doing it? We got Chief Axel's here like every single day. Appreciate you, my friend. Matt's is GM, TK to the moon. What a strange days, right, guys? Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
It has not been fun for sure. Remy U is here. 100%. Buenos ideas. Hello from Argentina, guys. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to you, my friend. TGIF. I hate Fridays. I hate Saturdays. Honestly, I can't wait for Monday. Stan is here. Shout out to Stan. 69K. Tom Lee Spirit. Patty Boo says my daughter asked you to remix the OG Ordinal Revolution intro song. Not gonna lie, I kind of miss it. Yeah, we can play it. Maybe I'll play it one day. We don't have the video anymore. Adopted by Bitcoin says like gas fring. Patty Poo with a TK. Hydro Sapien says GM guys. Dog go to the moon. Myself says I recently sold some silver at a coin shop to buy some shit coins. I love it. I absolutely love it. 100%. Patty Boo says 108,178 is my buy line between now and October 5th. What happens if it hits there tomorrow morning though? Is that still in line? I mean, it's 9 days before the 5th. Could we go lower? I'm actually seeing a dump. I think there's gonna be a dump after the market closes tonight going into tomorrow, but we'll see. Superfan is here. GM. Mats is here. Shout out to Mats. And myself. Physically active hobby is great for your brain health, and the dopamine release gives you the feel good mood. Yeah, I disagree. I don't like being physical, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's unique to Shizzy. He doesn't like that, but I do agree. It does make you feel. You do get that dopamine hit whenever you do physical stuff. Sometimes for the people that it works on, right? So
yeah, I mean, I'd rather play video games. I don't know. I get dopamine hits from there from winning the NBA championship with the Sixers. But just kidding. To move it along here. Oh yeah, I didn't hit the roll call button. But let's jump into some stuff here. Another.
Well, I want to talk about abstract really quick. So I think the abstract community has been putting a little bit of a fire under their behinds, and so Finn, which is the marketing lead, says creator capital markets are coming to abstract streamers, so that's good. Yeah, tradable mindshare. What else did he say is coming? He listed off a couple different things. So like they know that, you know, people in the Pudgy community wants them to be more aggressive. And I'm sure like Luca Nets is getting with their team and saying, hey, like we need to ramp it up because the Korea Blockchain Week showed that they want to support it, but there needs to be just more options and stuff. So that is something to definitely keep your eye on.
Oh, I need to get over here. I got to figure out what I want to get. Let's take a look at it real quick while we have the time. So this is my account over here, my Shizzy account. It's been so long I've been over here. I haven't even changed Ordinal Revolution to OnChain Revolution. That's how long it's been since I've really been playing over here. They did the new follower thing. I gotta look more into that because I don't know how I got 15 followers. But if you go to streams, we are streaming over here. How far do they put us down? Okay,
right there.
There we are. Yeah. So if you guys do want to watch us over here on Abstract, you can do that. Yeah. Okay.
Right there.
There we are. Yeah. Yep. So let me actually, I forgot I got the volume thing on for this one. So, but yeah, man. So you guys can check us out here. Put some comments in here as well. So let's look. We've been getting some comments here. That's really cool to see. But we are streaming over on Abstract. If you guys want to come check us out over there, but the games I think is where you get the most points, right? So that's one of the. I remember I bought a bunch of these roach or. I invested a lot into my roach, like we're roach racing. So this is something I want to be playing with. But yeah, Abstract is definitely somewhere that I think there's a lot of opportunity. Dude, creator capital markets coming to Abstract. Like, what if they just give us a coin?
I mean, they probably
an option for us to create a coin. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, no, I think they'll probably just assign one. to you, you know what I mean? But like that is something that they're bringing. But I hope that they have a good strategy for that, right? Because we've seen like Pump Fund having a little bit of success and also, you know, struggling as well, right? So like again, you have to focus on, you know, what the streamer, it's about the streamer and the content that the streamers are creating, and that being the main source of value, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And definitely, guys, if you haven't got over on ABS, make sure you guys are getting the points. Let me actually show you that real quick, because I want you guys to
100%
get this airdrop with us. And 100%, I just said. But hold on, let me just go to it's portal.abs.xyz. You go to it and show my screen here again. All right, so what you want to do is go down to your rewards, and you see I have over 41,000 points here. I'm in the silver tier. I've earned a lot of these badges and stuff like that. This is dude, I got these badges back in like March. Like I haven't got any new badges since then. There's probably 100 new ones that I probably still need to try and get. So I'm gonna try doing that, and then you can kind of see I'm earning about 1,000 points each week. But there's one week where I did like I think I played the game for like an hour, and I had like 3,000 points that week. So I definitely want to be over here every single day and like try to get more of these points, because if you see, like, if you need 100,000 points to get into the gold tier, and obviously the gold tier is where you're going to get the most airdrop, right? So I got to do whatever I can to get this 59,000 XP points by the time of the airdrop. Like that is my goal. That is my number one goal here. So I'm going to try to push that there. But yeah, definitely want to be over there checking out abs.xyz. All right. Well, speaking of chains, we got to jump into some plasma chain opportunities. So if you guys don't know what plasma chain is the chain of USDT. USDT is Tether. Tether is a company now that is worth around $500 billion, right? So this is obviously chain to be a part of it. How do you get started? Well, you head over to plasma.to. That is the main website. You connect your wallet like I did. I connect my wallet over here, and I'm just been doing some different stuff. So they're giving away insane yield. It's 19.04 yield on your USDT. You're getting paid through Aave, their token, and some other one as well. So you'll be getting insane APY on that. On top of that, you can see you have a balance here. And then if you want to bridge there, you can click bridge. You'll take you to Stargate. You guys can bridge in from Ethereum, Base, Arbitrum, pretty much anywhere. And with like, let's say you click ETH, you just change it to the token that you want, which is XPL, because you need it for gas. And then you guys can potentially get your bridge going like I did. That's how I got over here as well. But heading back to Plasma, they got the bridge. They got a swap. So you can. This is the one that I like. I like the OKU swap. It's basically Uniswap v3, but it is obviously the back end is the Uniswap, the front end is OKU, and you can come here and you can make some trades. I see the Plasma token. I got trillions and stuff like that. So we're gonna kind of get into that as well. But they have a Pump Fund over here, Pump Fund version. It's called DYOR Swap. Me and Yagobi were messing around over here yesterday, just kind of learning what is going on over here. I created a coin over here just to kind of test it out. Very similar to everything else I did. The transactions are pretty quick. They're actually slower than I originally thought. Like when I hit the button, I got to wait like, I don't know, 10 seconds before the trade is completed. Didn't you think that this would be a lot faster than that? It's only 1,000 TPS.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say, 1,000 TPS. But it is a proof of work chain, so I wonder if that has something to do with it. I don't think so, because like Cardano's proof of work. No, Cardano's proof of stake. You're right. Or I'm right. I got that wrong or whatever. But anyways, yeah. So a little bit surprised that they didn't want to scale for speed. But again, I don't think they created this for like this ultra fast like meme coin trading type of situation. I think it's more originally for like financial products is why they created this chain.
Yeah, but like financial products, you want your
like
stablecoins flying.
Yeah,
but you want your stablecoins flying at the speed of light. Like you can't do mass transactions with a debit card.
If you're doing, that's what I'm saying. So that's one thing. A little bit, but when you swipe it, it's signing, right? It's signing the transaction when you swipe it, right? So it's just like however long that takes. So whenever you did your transaction, was it fast, just as slow as Ethereum or slower?
It's faster than Ethereum, but like 5 times slower than Base and Solana.
But I think you're okay to swipe a card though, and it probably take you like maybe like 6
What if
seconds.
10,000 people are doing it at the same time? That's the problem. If I got put into the next block and I'm sitting there at Walmart waiting for my transaction to go through, that's not acceptable to the masses.
They're gonna
right?
they're gonna find a way to mitigate that, whether it's like using a third party or whatever or something, to just kind of say, okay, we'll roll the transactions up or whatever. You know, they're gonna find a way to where they wouldn't create a debit card product if, you know, it was gonna be a situation to where people had to wait in line. You know what I mean? Like at the grocery store and stuff.
Where did you get that as proof of work? Because it's not. It's proof of stake. It's a consensus mechanism, validator stake token. Yeah, you can't run 1,000 TPS a second on a proof of work. There's no way.
Where did I see that? Unless I think Bob Bodley did a breakdown with it.
Yeah, I actually have that. I read that this morning too, but he didn't say. I don't think he said anything about proof of stake. Where do I have that? I know.
Where? So wait, did you get confirmation that it's proof of stake?
I just had ChatGPT and it says it runs a proof of stake mechanism, very similar to how Ethereum.
Gotcha.
I asked it straight up. I said, "Is it proof of work?" And it said no.
Yeah, no, it is proof of stake. Yeah, so then I don't know. I could have sworn I saw that on Bob Bodley's post. Did you see that on his post too?
No. I'll read it. So he said, lots of people are excited about XPL Plasma on the timeline today. Here's a technical TLDR if you don't know anything about it. One, he said it's a new proof of stake L1, meaning a separate blockchain using its own token for security. It's not an L2 and doesn't inherit security from other chains. So that's a benefit when you run an L2 like Base Chain or Optimism or Arbitrum, right? Yeah, you basically get the security of Ethereum. They chose not to go that route. Its EVM works out of the box with Solidity EVM contracts, ETH contracts. Uses new consensus mechanism to achieve 1,000 transactions per second. Honestly, I was hoping for 10 to 100x more. Yeah, I think Solana is 100x faster than that. Advertises as a trusted minimized Bitcoin bridge, which I didn't know about, aka not really minimized, just a big multi-sig secured by a network of verifiers. 5, purpose built for stablecoins, gas fee abstraction, custom gas fee tokens, stablecoins as a first-class citizen. So that's one thing cool about this is you can set your gas tokens to whatever you want. I can use Trillions, which is a meme coin here, as the gas token if I choose to. What it will do is it's on the back end. It's going to just swap it for the XPL token. So that's one thing that's really cool. So let's just say you have your debit card and all you have in there is the USDT. It'll just take the gas out of the USDT. It's not going to force you to have XPL in that account. So
we knew all that. Stopped. We knew that was coming anyways. For the future of things. So
100%. Am I really supposed to believe that Plasma is going to dominate stablecoin space with 1,000 TPS? So that's interesting. It was cool to see Bob do this again. Bob's been so involved with Odin.fun that he hasn't really put out anything in a while. So it was really kind of cool to see him kind of break this down. And he chose Plasma off the Bitcoin network, which is different as well. He hasn't done anything off the Bitcoin network in a while either. But what do you think about Bob's his thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I must have read that wrong, but yeah, if you think about like how their main product that they're showcasing on their website is a debit card, then it does make you kind of wonder how they're going to accomplish that, because they could run into issues. But I mean, again, Tether's not some new kid on the block. They've been around, so they know that they're going to have to probably support high volumes, right? If it catches and takes off, which I hope that they want that to happen, because that's the only reason why you launch products, right? But he might have did it because of the bridge to Bitcoin. At the end of the day, though, like it sounded like they're using like this multi MPC kind of layer, or he said that they're using multiple verifiers. The more verifiers, the more decentralized, I guess it will be in an aspect, right? But MPC is being used by everybody that's really trying to bridge to Bitcoin or from Bitcoin to another chain, and it's honestly probably the best solution that we have today. Obviously, the more you decentralize that process, the better people feel about it. And Botanix uses that approach, but they have their own kind of custom version of to where they use multiple MPC wallets that kind of shard, I think, each other in terms of like having like the keys and all that stuff, and also balances. So you can't, if one of the MPCs get exploited, like at least it's not going to be like a huge amount, so.
Yeah, it'll just be one of the validators, and they can kind of hopefully put some guardrails around to getting to the next one and stuff like that. 100%, very similar to how validators run. So that's one thing good about the MPCs or the whatever they are, the multisigs. It's very similar to how nodes work. So that's actually really smart for places like Botanix and stuff that you start using that in that way. I can't find where that debit card was. You remember where the debit card was?
It was on the homepage. Oh,
did
they take it off? Let me see, plasma.to.
Yeah, it used to be here, but they have a debit card to where it'll hook up. So you basically go into the settings and you'll just put your wallet address and you'll sign it with your wallet, and that'll allow you to kind of go to any store. And if you have USDT in that debit card, you'll be able to spend that anywhere credit cards or debit cards are spent. And that was one thing that's really cool. And, as long as you can have any token in there as well. It doesn't need to be USDT. It can be XPL, and they'll just, whatever that time you swiped is, they'll sell it for the stable coin for you. And then you'll keep your balance, stuff like that. And you'll be able to set the token that you want to spend as well. So that's really cool. That's what I want in life, dude. I want to just keep my money in my wallet and have a debit card that represents that, and just be anywhere swiping that card. Like that.
Click on one. Go back to the homepage. And then click on one at the top. It's like
so go to plasma.to.
Yeah, and then you'll see one is that second option. Click that.
There it is.
So I was right. You do get cash back off of this debit card, which is awesome.
That is really cool. I didn't know
you
that.
Get
150 countries. So how's that possible with a debit card? Is it a credit card then?
No, but debit cards earn money too. They do earn money. They earn money off of the transaction. Not the consumer, not the person that's using it, the debit card issuer, or like the the debit card issuer. It's a smaller percentage that they earn versus like a credit card, but there is a percentage, and I think they used to maybe give back to like debit card holders for banks in the US, but crypto.com has a debit card that they do rewards with as well. So This makes sense that we're seeing this 4% cashback's not bad.
Dude, that's amazing. I mean, I can get cash back on everyday purchases. This is 10%
crazy. 10% yield too. So if you just hold your USDT or USD, whatever it is, then you get 10%. Wow. And I know myself is loving this talk.
Yeah, I'm signing up for this. Before you guys do, I'm signing up for it. Make sure that I get put in this wait list before everyone else, because I want this and I want it now. I highly recommend everyone go over to Plasma One, and just like I did, and I just put my email address in there. Thank you. Received my personal email. Definitely want this. I want this like today. Because I will just stop using my bank completely. Like right now I've been using Venmo as my on and off ramp with PYUSD, but screw that, dude. I'm using this thing potentially everywhere, and my money's staked. What? This is crazy, absolutely crazy. But I want to show you guys some other stuff too. So over here on the pump fund or whatever this is, right? Like I said, I created a token yesterday called Fuck Off, and then just kind of messing around. Don't buy it. Do not buy it. I'm not doing anything with it. I just wanted to see how easy it was. Super easy to buy. I do like this. I'm on the Plasma mainnet. One thing I don't like about this, you can't really see the tokens. But I did find out that over on Gecko Terminal, which is a better version of Deck Screener, honestly, you can kind of see the market caps and stuff of these tokens. Sorry, I sneezed there. But you can see the market caps of these tokens. And this is the 1 trillion. This is sitting at 3.8 million. So it is the #1 meme coin on Plasma. I immediately bought a couple $100 of this. Really, really bullish on this token. I've been DCAing into it already. I have not too much of it. Like I think I have like 240. I have about 800 hours worth right now. I'm up a little bit on this, so I'm very bullish on this. Worth about 707 XPL. So I bought some last night, bought some this morning when I saw that dip, and the dip did get bought up. And it does look like right now that this thing is just I mean, look at this. Is this not consolidation? I don't know what is. Are you bullish on the first meme coin on Plasma, or do you think maybe I'm just jumping the gun here on a chain that probably doesn't need meme coins?
I think you're jumping the gun a little bit, but it doesn't mean that it won't go up. We saw the first token on Abstract, go, I think, to like 7 million, but it did pull back. And then the first token on Barachain that launched, it went to like I went to 10 million at some point, and then it pulled back. And so I do think that you got to be careful. But if it does run up, because it got all the way up to, I think, like 5 million, or, well, obviously I don't count that very first part, but like,
no, it would be this one.
Yeah. So what is that, about 6 million? So 6 million. So for me personally, I would probably take profit on the next high, because for the first tokens, I think you can expect like a run up, but like not, you shouldn't probably expect to sustain like it sustaining it. I think it's different than the Bitcoin ecosystem. Bitcoin ecosystem looks at that like so much. What's the first token over there? What's the like Ordi, and then I guess in Runes it didn't really pan out that way, but what was it? Rune Zero was the one with the mempool, right?
Uncommon goods, yeah,
uncommon goods. Okay, yeah. But you get my drift. So, but I do think that there's probably gonna be one more run up here, and then that's probably where I would exit. But who knows? It could continue on. Who knows?
I have no plans of exiting this. I'm just going to hold this because my biggest mistake on Abstract was not holding long, right? So there was tokens like Newt. We both got in this for like 400K. It ran to almost $40 million, right? And all I had to do was hold, a couple $100 worth.
Yeah, but that wasn't the first one. If you would have held the first one, which was Yup, you would have probably not been too happy. I mean, would still be up. You know what I mean? But
we got in at like 60K, and it ran to 6 million. I mean, it's 100x, right?
Yeah. So that's whenever you take it out, though, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think you would do
for the first ones.
Yeah, for the first one. But I think with this one, with Trillions, it just has everything with this one. So I think this is going to be the Brett of, Brett is the #1 meme coin over on Coinbase, on Base Chain, and I think this potentially could be. I mean, you're saying nothing. No other tokens get close to this one right now. And when newer people are coming over, you're seeing the holder count continuously grow. So this is just something that I'm really bullish on. I think it's going to do really well. I think it has a great name for this chain with Plasma, Trillions, because they're coming out and saying USDT or Tether is worth $500 billion, with $500 billion. So, and Trillions is kind of like, this is where it should go. I don't know. I like it. I'm going to be holding this probably a long time, but if you guys are interested, you can head over to Gecko Terminal and get it. You can potentially see it from there. What do you think about Gecko Terminal, though? I'm really enjoying the experience. It seems to be like a really, really amazing deck screener. And all you got to do to get listed on here, you have to just get listed on CoinGecko. So once you're listed on CoinGecko, you can kind of see these tokens in pretty much a fast-paced environment here.
Yeah. I want to keep researching. Well, I think the Gecko Terminal is a really good thing, because it's you can see all those prices for the new chains there, but also I want to see like a community start to rally around a coin over there, and I think that will kind of give me indication. Like, for example, like Aster right now is like the strongest coin on Abstract, and it really they waited until like a community started to form around it. But at the end of the day, this is kind of that meme coin thing, that we've been talking a lot about, and it's gambling straight up. You don't know how this is going to play out. This is a meme coin, and so the audience should by now probably know that, if you guys have been watching our channel, that meme coins are a gamble. You guys know that, but could be a big upside opportunity too. That's the part of the gamble, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think, putting a couple $100 in the first couple coins, and that's the thing too. I'm sitting here, I'm now watching and kind of seeing what are the next ones. So if you over here, you click Plasma, but not really anything yet. So I'm actually waiting for something to get listed on CoinGecko, because that's how there's community behind it, because it doesn't just get listed right away, and stuff like that. So I'm kind of down here and I'm kind of looking and just waiting for the next one. There was another one I got into called M2. I ended up just getting out of that one because it just wasn't. It didn't seem like it was really moving on social media. But if you go to social media and you put in trillions, you can kind of see there is a community that is being built around this. Like this is what 4 million, a little under 4 million FTV here. So it is very, very small if the sense of this thing taking off, and it's early days. I think potentially getting it, setting it, forgetting you even have it, and potentially coming back in a few months was kind of see where it's at. That's just my plan. I'm very, very small portion of my portfolio there, and just kind of letting it ride. But yeah, man, just heading back over to Plasma. So what are your thoughts on this altogether? Like, we just kind of packed everything up now into a nice bag. It kind of went over pretty much everything about the chain. What do you think? Do you think this is something that's going to be competing with the likes of Ethereum one day?
In the DeFi aspect, I think so. I think people are going to be using this chain mostly to find good yield. Or consistent, safe, feel safe about it type yield. And that's why, like, if they, the debit card thing does throw me off with the 1,000 TPS, but like Tether should be a place, like if Tether is backing a chain, it should be a place where you earn yield. You know what I mean? Like where you go to find those type of products. And so I think they're going to be looked at as that, and I think they're going to have success with it.
Yeah, and it's saying 0 transfer fees on USDT. So that's pretty massive. I didn't even think about that for a second. Like it's completely, so there's no gas if you
go. I mean, that right there is 100,000% a marketing situation, right? We're seeing more and more of that. So, to me, we're gonna probably see like Scott Bessent's on the oh my god, he's on the homepage.
Well, he says we're going to keep the US the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that. Scott Bessent. So that's like I bet
that's wild.
Tether headquarters in El Salvador, because they're based out of El Salvador. You walk into Tether headquarters, there's probably a picture of this man's face.
That is wild.
Okay, it's a moving thing with quotes from the chairman, the CFTC chairman, Chris Giancarlo. But yeah,
I know, but
cool.
Still, like you
oh, David Sachs.
You don't typically see that kind of stuff like on a like blockchain website.
Well, you've never really seen positive stuff from these people in crypto, period, right? When was the last time you see the Secretary of Treasury talk good about crypto? This is the first time ever this year.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. So, that's probably going to make people feel more confident too about where they're parking their money. You know what I mean? If there's some sort of relation, seems like they're trying to really get in good too, because they created that new stable coin as well. That's complying with all the regulations.
They said we're not dealing with your bullshit audits, but we'll create one that does. That's kind of what they said there. I'm so bullish on Plasma, so bullish on the Plasma chain right now. I just think that this can be my on and off ramp, or mainly my off ramp. I mean, if I'm in Target and I'm spending my USDT, my God, dude, my life just changed drastically. And I can use a decentralized wallet, no KYC. I mean, come on, that is absolutely massive for our space. But we'll see if anyone jumps in and tries to ruin that for us with their over rules and stuff like that. So but yeah, just checking real quick too about, you can take loans out with Morpho through this as well. And just looking at that Stakehouse USDC and stuff like that. So you can take loans out using Morpho. We do know that Sats Terminal is also using Morpho. So this was one of the proven providers for loans and stuff like that there. You can create a profile and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Sign up with Ethereum, connect your wallet and stuff like that. So really, really cool. They're kind of using the all-in-one space thing. You can potentially sign up with your MetaMask, and it'll show you everything you have in that MetaMask as well, and potentially be able to easily bridge it and stuff like that. They got a pro stuff here. But yeah, it's definitely really cool. All right, let's jump into the last thing here, which is the top sectors in the last 24 hours. So this is something that I do every day as part of my morning research. Is I just gonna go in to CoinGecko and I go into cryptocurrencies and go to categories, and then after you go to categories, you want to just go to the 24-hour, right? If you go to 24-hour, it's the Binance hodlers, but the 7-day is really interesting because this is what I was talking about earlier. So in the course of the last 7 days, the biggest winners were marketing, healthcare, energy, and education. if I would have told you last year that marketing, healthcare, energy, and education were the top movers in our space, you would have laughed at me. But what do you think about this?
Why is Chainlink a part of the marketing?
They're doing the coin for the coin. So Chainlink's a part of every category.
Oh, okay. Okay,
They're
that was
using
weird.
Chainlink as the oracle.
Yeah, I know, but I just don't get why that's in a marketing category. But
Yeah,
anyways,
it's just everything that every partner with the marketing stuff, they're always in that category. The Chainlink's in every category. But what we wouldn't do is just kind of go to the here. You see Loud here. This is one of the bigger. How is this not like, I don't understand. How is it up so much?
So Cato would be in here too, I imagine.
Yeah, potentially. Then you have stuff like Alchemy, Freedom, and stuff. I don't know. This is what category was that again? That was marketing. And then you kind of go to categories. Do it again on the 7-day. You got healthcare, energy. Let's take a look at healthcare. Let's see what coins are in healthcare. So again, Chainlink's in them all. You got a 7-day. You see a Mudo Hub. I don't know. Iris
DNA.
Chain. Yeah. Oh, this is DNA.
That's what it says right next to it.
Oh,
that's the ticker.
Okay, that's pretty cool. What are they doing with the? Ooh, that's not good. What are they doing with DNA? This is really interesting stuff. This is where I'm going to be spending my weekend, just kind of looking at these sectors that maybe we should start learning about, whether it's education in the space. AI is probably one of my favorite sectors, but marketing, healthcare, energy, and education being the biggest winners of the week. Definitely something to keep an eye on for sure, and potentially try to always looking for opportunity in the market, guys. So definitely take a look at that for sure. But it's time to jump into our next segment. It's our weekly segment with the great guys over at Emblem Vault. They are also the makers of Agent Hustle and also the makers of MigrateFun. If you do not know what MigrateFun is, you're definitely living under a rock, because they are starting their migrations. They started it yesterday, and it's one of the biggest things, in my opinion, that's happened to crypto in a long time. It's no longer stuck in a pool. So there's some pools out there with millions of dollars, and these pools do not move. Using something like MigrateFun will allow you to extract some of that Solana and move it over to another pool, and that'll allow you to control your pool. That's exactly what the guys from Hustle did. They were the TNSR token in the pump swap, and they decided to move it from pump over to their own pool, and now they get all the fees, and they set their fee rate and everything. They're not getting a little bit of crumbs. Now they're getting the whole loaf of bread when you're swapping over there. So it's something absolutely amazing, and they're doing this for tons of other teams. It's truly remarkable, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, like I mentioned yesterday when we did that tutorial, this was something that was created from a pain point that they had, and like Emblem does, they realize that, hey, look, our pain point is many other people's pain points, and they're able to create this product. And that's what you need. You need pain points for products to work, because they need to be needed, right? And so this is what they did, and they rolled it out, and we're getting through the first cohort. So I'm excited and I'm happy for the team, and I can't wait to hear how it's been going so far.
Yeah, man. So we learned that they passed the audit last week, and they're already set and running. So I can't wait to dive deep. So without further ado, let's bring on the man of the hour in, Jake. Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. Thanks so much for being here, sir.
What's good, guys? Dude, awesome tutorial video that you guys put out yesterday for MigrateFun. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah. Appreciate it. It was actually so seamless and easy. You guys made it very, very easy. And we did it before, right? For the original one that you created. So we kind of knew how it was going to go. But like, how is everything going? Obviously, really busy day for you guys yesterday. Has it been smooth? Have you guys run into some hiccups? Like, what has the process been like?
So we're about 24 hours in. I believe in 30 minutes will be 24 hours since everything went live. I just checked in out of the 14 projects, 11 of them have over 15% of the supply migrated. So really, really awesome turnout. Zero Labs, who was formerly Monopoly Money, actually beat our record with Hustle. In the first 24 hours, we had 51% and they have 52%. So they just squeaked us by, which is really important to the integrity of the project, because that means that it was not just a fluke of us migrating, that this is actually has demand and traction, and that different communities outside of the creator of the platform itself are participating in high levels. And I just showcase Zero Labs because they're a good example, but there's, I think, 8 teams that have over 20% of the total supply migrated. And for general math numbers, it's if you get 25% of the token supply migrated, you'll recover about 50% of the liquidity in the pool. If you get 50% of the token supply migrated, you'll get at least 75%. Obviously, the numbers differentiate depending on the ratio of the market cap to the liquidity, but things are looking pretty good. So if I had to estimate, somewhere between 2.5 to 3 million in liquidity has been migrated so far, and we're off to a really hot start. There's definitely some areas that we have to fix or improve. One of them is that the phantom malicious warning is popping up, even though we had verified it the first time. So I don't know what happened, but that became unverified. So I had to send an email out to them. There's been a few issues with people going through mobile, knowing that if you are migrating through mobile, you have to do it through the Phantom app and not through your Safari or Brave or Google Chrome browser within the mobile app itself. And then just some general questions around what are MFTs. We didn't really kind of forecast what it was because we wanted it to be new when revealed. Obviously, with competitors now advocating that they're going to create better migration tools that are more fair to everyone else, right? We have to kind of keep some things to our chest until we're able to release it. And with V2, we introduced a handful of new features that we believe is just going to completely put MigrateFun above everything else moving forward, because we're setting the standard of what a migration is. And overall, really proud of the team. It's been a very intense 3 months to get to this. By far the most comprehensive launch I've ever done at Emblem, and I know for the team as well. There's thousands of development hours, research hours, business development, strategy, etc., to get to where we are today. And now that it's live, there was no major bug. The site stayed intact the whole entire time. Majority of the teams are participating. Very few kind of errors on the back end. And from an educational standpoint, the majority of people who had never used MigrateFun had no issue actually migrating their tokens, which was actually like the biggest thing that we wanted. When you're building on Solana, there's a really heavy focus on UX and design. And so we really kept that in mind as we were designing this. And overall, so far, so good. Next week on Thursday, I think we have about 7 or 8 projects that will be completing and concluding their migration. So we still have the back half of the migration experience to undergo, but overall, very smooth. Got a bunch of people reaching out to us about their migrations. There's already a few teams who want to announce the second migration group already that are really excited. And yeah, just really proud of everyone and the community for believing in us and sticking to their guns that we will be the migration platform of choice. Over the last 3 months, I know it's been hard for people to wait around while the audit was undergoing, while FUD campaigns were circulating, while competitors were announcing that they were going to build migration tool. Turns out all of it was just smoke and mirrors for the majority of it. Now migrations are broadly accepted by even the people who were naysayers in the beginning. And we have a platform that's migrating over 6 million in liquidity in this first group. So really, really fast start. Really flawless execution, and proud of everyone who's participated.
Yeah, man, 100%. And you like you mentioned, you guys got the audit. This isn't some flyby project that just went out there and just going willy-nilly, right? You guys actually spent the time, spent the money. And could you talk about the audit a little bit and kind of get into that process?
Yeah, very expensive, almost 6 figures to pay for this audit. So maybe in my next life, I should go into the insurance or auditing business, because man, for the cost of these things and for the deflection of liability, I think might be in that position. But props to I joke, the Halborn team is awesome. This is our second audit we've done with them before. They did audit our Emblem V1 before we moved to V2. It was a 20-day audit. They had their best Solana engineer on, who spent 20 days on it. They put it as a highly specific word, like a highly complex program. They actually said it was probably one of the most complex Solana programs that they've ever audited before. They do audits for the Solana Foundation. I think they're one of a few teams who do when new upgrades are introduced to the layer 1 Solana chain. And now we're kind of just waiting for the public report. So basically how it works is it took a few days longer than what we were initially expecting, which is fine. Then they had to submit basically like the rough draft of all the final edits. The cool part is during the process, they were giving us any kind of critical vulnerability that was found. There was 4 criticals that were found, not like that crazy, had to do with kind of server, some verification. We were able to fix while they were doing the audit, so that by the time that it came back, there was a handful of things that needed to be fixed and submitted. They said it takes 1 to 2 weeks for the public report to be live. And once it's live, we'll post it on the site. We'll put it through through Twitter, and so that everybody could look at. It's important that we got it done. Everyone wants to feel secure, regardless of what your opinions are about audits, as well as some of the exchanges have been asking for the audits for people who have exchange listings, and obviously anybody who wants to build with the MigrateFun SDK here next month. We'll have a launch partner for that. Wants to see the audit. So we're just waiting on that now. And we just posted our documentation this morning, which you could find on migrate.fun, top right-hand corner in the drop-down menu. We also posted that as well. Those are just the user and admin guide. We do have, that's like, what's there is maybe 30% of what actual documentation we have, but that's all relative to code and stuff. So if there's any builders out there who want to use MigrateFun, we have much more comprehensive technical documentation that's live. But again, aware that we're on Solana, and the majority of builders on Solana are retail users who do not care about what the technical code is. And so we do want to be cognizant of that, to not confuse people with too much of the mumbo jumbo, which maybe is a little bit more relevant on Bitcoin and ETH.
Yeah, 100%. And real quick, I just put the QR code up right there, so you guys can scan that, and they'll take you directly to migrate.fun. You guys can get into everything you guys need. So new feature from StreamYard, which is awesome.
Yep. So it sounds like you guys are going to be taking the cohort approach, at least for the second one as well, right? So basically, if someone's interested, reach out to you guys, and then they'll get added to that second group, or how's it going to work?
Yeah, I think the groups are very valuable. We've kind of gone back and forth internally about it, but we do want to launch the site to be public at some point. So hopefully next month we could have it live. So anybody who's just kind of looking through or doesn't want the white glove service, they could go up and set up their migration for whatever. Obviously, once the site is publicly available, that introduces attack vectors and malicious actors who will use it in a variety of ways to trick people. So we are cognizant of that. But the migration experience is similar to purchasing a house. People want to ask literally hundreds of questions throughout, a month long of anything that comes to mind. And we think there's a lot of value there. And obviously now we've migrated 15 projects. So we have a lot of experience. We've talked with probably close to 150 now at this point. So we know what people are looking for, but the superior customer service is something that we value a lot at Emblem. And I think it actually translates really well when you do not have venture capital backers and you're pretty much a community homegrown project through grassroots movements. You need to be able to represent the holders and your customers, not just through technical build, but also through personal relations. And so I think we'll probably do the second group in October. We have maybe 5 to 10 projects who are interested. Some of them want to migrate to BlancFun. Some people have been asking us about Pump Swap. Some people have been asking us about Meteora. Some people have been asking us about USD1 bonk migrations as well.
Oh, wow.
It seems like the requests kind of gravitate depending on what the flavor of the week is within the Launchpad wars, which is okay. So we want to try to accommodate everything. Obviously, some of the big players have to kind of participate in that as well. But yeah, we'll kind of see, and hopefully we'll probably do it in October. Maybe the groups will be monthly, maybe they'll be quarterly, depending on where the demand is. But I think the one thing that we've noticed with the migration groups is the attention that it gets. There are people who are now actively creating trading funds to buy migration projects. So there's like an active kind of ecosystem growing, as well as the projects who are participating also are collaborating with each other. I've seen them go on each other's show, partner for different types of products. And so we want to continue growing that community. Obviously, we are a tool more than like a token project. We have Hustle, that is the migration platform. And so we're infrastructure builders and we want to connect with teams. And I think the migration groups are something that's here to stay, because I don't think the white glove service is going to go away at any point, because a migration is going to be one of the most important decisions that a project operator undergoes in their career, as you're literally moving your community and somewhat trimming the fat of the excess holders who maybe don't believe in the project long term, or the token chart is just completely fucked because of whatever XYZ reasons.
Yeah, man, 100%. And that's really awesome to kind of see people. I feel like people do that all the time to you guys. They you guys build something and they build something around it. It happens with Hustle. It happened with those guys from the Academy and stuff like that, which is really awesome. And speaking of the Academy guys, they did launch a token where they're going to be streaming on Pump using Agent Hustle. So that's awesome. And I got a little bit of that. But I kind of wanted to talk about the Zira migration entity. So this came in here, and I actually had to hit the three dots and actually put it on because they took it off. But could you talk about exactly what this is? Like, so what I did is I had the money token, which is the Monopoly money, and then I did the migration, and I got this. Could you kind of explain that process there?
Yeah, so it's good that it gets hidden. I think it's because it's valueless is why Phantom has been hiding it. We've had a few people ask the same thing. So I wasn't sure if it was because it was valueless or because of the site verification itself, but I'll have to remember that for the people that ask. Yeah, MFTs are one of the few new features that we introduced to MigrateFun V2. Essentially, it's a receipt or a redemption for the future token. So what we had realized is with this new method, if we were to right now give you the Zira token, the actual Zira token immediately before the LP is deployed, then this introduces an attack vector where somebody who has the token can go set up a rogue LP pool and effectively set the market cap of the token. Because how AMMs work is that if there's a new token, whoever is first to initialize the LP sets the price per token. So for example, here, if we handed out the Zira tokens, literally any Zira token could go set the market cap of Zira to at 1 million, 1 billion, 100 billion, whatever they wanted. And we wanted to ensure that that doesn't happen. So in that case, while the migration happens, there's kind of two options where you have to give them some sort of placeholder. And you can either do this on the server side or you could do this on chain. And as we always build, we try to do things as mostly on-chain as possible, where the business reasoning is there, also the cost effectiveness and the efficiency of the use case itself. So we decided to go on-chain here with the MFT, MigrateFun token. That's what we're calling it. Some people like to say the motherfucking token. You could say kind of whatever you want. And so during this time, whenever you go to do the migration here, right, you turn in, you basically take your money and you lock it in a migration vault. We give you the MFT. And then once the migration ends in 6 days and 11 minutes, then they will come back and turn in their MFT for the Zira token. And you can see right there at the bottom, it says burn at MFT later to claim Zira. And so during the claim process, that's going to happen for about 8 teams next Thursday. there's going to be 2 different claim windows. There will be a claim window for all the people who migrated on time, and then there will be a late migrators claim window. And so for those who did the migration on time, they're basically going to turn in their MFT to then they're going to turn their MFT. The MFT will be burned and they'll get the Zero token, the actual Zero token. For the late migrators, they're going to take their money tokens and then they'll turn it in and get Zero. And so once the migration ends, there's a snapshot that's taken of all of the non-migrators. So this prevents people from going and buying the money token and trying to claim Zero in the late migration window. And that is all actually also done completely on chain using Merkle proofs as well. And so you'll see both of those people come and claim. During the claim time, there will be a 90-day claim window for both the people who migrated on time and the people who missed the migration. The one thing we've learned is that when you do that final sell at the end, it shows up in everyone's Phantom wallet as the token going negative 99% or whatever it is. So you'll get all the late migrators coming to claim because they're going to start complaining why the token's at 0. And then they'll see, oh, there's a migration. And so then they'll take their discount or whatever the team is set for the snapshot and claim tool. After 90 days, all the unclaimed tokens from the people who migrated on time and the late migrators will be returned to the team who set up the migration themselves. And there will actually be a second swap at the end for the late migrators who come in and turn their money token in and get the Zero token. So then you'll get another second rush of new tokens that the team will then sell to extract the final liquidity out of the pool, and the teams will then move on. So MFTs, valueless. It would be interesting, and maybe I'm going to open up a can of worms here, but when migrations become a lot more accepted, I could see a place where somebody uses the MFTs in some sort of DeFi protocol, some sort of liquidity, some sort of staking, right? Because essentially it does have value because it's a receipt to the underlying token itself of the new one. So I could see people building derivatives over that. Obviously, migrations need to be a lot more popular for people to find value in that. But that's the cool part of being on chain is you introduce tokens and people can build on top of it. And that's exactly what we want to do. And we'll be doing this with the Migrate SDK. I say that very lightheartedly. It's just a developer kit. Next month, we'll be migrating with Mobi AI. They were supposed to be in this group. They were going to be the largest migration of this group. They had some requests, some specific requests last second of what did they want to do. So we'll be rolling out our SDK with them where users will migrate their Mobi directly on the Mobi site themselves. They won't have to go to the MigrateFun site. And so it'll be a good experiment there. You'll migrate and you'll claim your tokens there. And we hope that this introduces an opportunity for all teams who want a migration tool, all protocols, right? Whether you're Believe app or whatever, XYZ. You just use our SDK and the underlying tech, and you can build the migration platform directly into your site. Obviously, this helps with competition who may be trying to come for MigrateFun, which is fine. I think there should be multiple migration tools that exist so that there's healthy competition. But for those who don't want to build the infrastructure and go through 3 months of training and 3 months of building, thousands of dev hours, and talk with hundreds of teams, you can just build on top of MigrateFun and talk with us, and you can just negotiate with us directly on fees and such.
It's really big. I mean, Mobi's obviously like heavily utilized utility in the Solana ecosystem, and so I would say that's probably your largest brand win there. And also, it can open the door for this white labeling type of approach, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, you said, you know, you guys want to focus on kind of catering towards the clients and stuff like this. This is a perfect example of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, right, when you're creating something that's brand new, not only are you creating the tech that's brand new, but you're also creating the business model, right? And so the business model right now is that we take 3.75% of the total liquidity migrated that's paid out in SOL through the contract itself. So there's no upfront cost. but there is a B2B opportunity here where, let's say BankFun, for example, right? We'll use them because they're a solid partner. They have 11 projects that are migrating. If they use our SDK, they could build the migration portal directly into their site. And then if they wanted to, instead of charging the users, they could offer free migrations and just pay us directly, right? On basically a wholesale price per migration. We have numbers that we're thinking about, and this is just an opportunity. If a team does find this to be something that they're interested in, right? Meteoric could do this, PumpSwap could do this. When we go to base, any of the base teams could do this as well. And personally, I'd rather do it that way, right? Because if you have different launchpads and AMMs who are using the MigrateFun SDK, they're going to have to offer some sort of incentive. We talked about this on the last show, but native migration tools, right? Like Believe App and Heaven, who are two teams who said that they're going to build a migration tool. Both of them are essentially subsidizing their users, whether it's like free migrations or covering the cost of tokens that were not migrated, or fronting liquidity so that the LP can be continuous on the other side. This is obviously subsidization that's going to happen, and we've been pretty clear about this, that you can either do the subsidized method, or you face a true reality of the situation about not having 100% of people participating, and that the majority of these teams do not have six figures to front the capital to deploy an LP on the other side immediately. So we decided to go, through our experience and realize that the latter is just facing the real world situation. And I think we've right now got a pretty good strategy moving forward. And so whenever these other teams kind of accept the reality that is, unless they're just going to subsidize their way through it, which is entirely possible, they could just work with us directly. And so one other interesting aspect of this is that from a business strategy standpoint, we put ourselves in a very unique situation. I've been trying to think of if there's any other situations like this in crypto, but we're kind of positioned between the three giants on Solana, between Pump, who owns PumpSwap and PumpFun, Radium, who has LaunchLab, which BankFun is built on top of, as well as a few other launch pads, and then Jupiter, that owns Meteora and Moonshot and a few of these other ones, right? And effectively between these three, we could bring business to them like we're doing with BankFun, right? And then we could also take business away, right? If teams want to migrate from BankFun to Meteora, right, then you're essentially kind of playing this two-way street. And so we want to be a third, a neutral third party in all of this, to try to build tooling like the MigrateFun SDK so that the teams can just find wherever their competitive advantage is and not have to undergo building the entire platform. Obviously, it's a little bit tougher in practice to do this because some teams feel threatened by it, unfortunately. Or also we're still in conversations with some other teams where you can't tell if they're just kind of stringing you along, trying to extract as much information as possible so that they can build a competitor, or if they're just actually busy and lack, immediate responsiveness. It's really tough to tell in the situation for a few of the teams, but either way, we're going to move wherever the business dictates, and the business is dictated by the teams who want to migrate. So we're moving forward with where teams want to go, and wherever the teams want to go, we have contact with the platform provider, and to see if they actually want to play along and work together, or if they want to, build a competitor. Tough to really know. So, but we're going to just move wherever the teams want to, because that's what's most important, is allowing builders choice to move to different environments that best benefits themselves and the community that supports them.
Yeah, 100%. And what this is going to do as well is it's going to put an even playing field out for everybody, right? Like if somebody wants to undercut someone, that's fine. Somebody wants to come in and undercut. But what that's going to do is it's going to the end user, the people who we forget about sometimes. We forget about the guy who just wants to come in and we call them degens, but at the end of the day, they're just trying to do what's best for their family and trying to not have to work a 9 to 5 the rest of their life, but actually invest in some of these communities and community coins and actually be the winner in this, right? You guys are actually for the first time, thinking thinking about that endpoint user like myself, who is trying to find tokens that are going to 100x without, overpaying for them. And if they're undercutting each other, it's a win for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out over the next few months. We do have some big strategies. So next month, we have the Mobi AI partnership or integration with the SDK. And then we have a few different options in terms of different migration outputs to integrate, right? Whether that's kind of like a pump thing or a Meteor thing or a different launchpad that's built on top of Radium or the USD1 migrations to BonkFun. And we'll kind of see after that. But we have gotten a handful of teams who have reached out from a variety of ways, and we'll make that decision once the first migration group is over, and we have revenue that comes in, and we kind of sit back for a few days and think where the next best decision is.
So I see a demand for doing cross-chain migrations as well, but obviously from a technical standpoint, that would be a little bit difficult. But where I see it, where it could be actually more seamless, would be within Agent Hustle's like infrastructure, right? Like a Hustle account or something like that. Is that how you see that being possible, or do you think the way you guys do it now is the approach you would take?
So for cross-chain migrations, to be honest, I'd say the demand right now is quite low. I've had maybe 5 to 10 teams ask about migrations from other chains, and I think the majority of it would be moving from Base to Solana and just building migration paths to Solana seems to be the most popular. It's actually not too difficult to build. EVM is a lot easier to build on than Solana is. And we know how to do it. And we've talked with a handful of AMMs and launchpads on Base already to kind of see if they've had any migration inquiries, and it's still quite limited, to be honest. But we'll see. It's really tough to know, especially now that the market is a little bit down. It seems like the excitement around migrations or interest is, I guess, been alleviated a little bit, right? Because the token prices aren't pumping. But once the market turns around or there's something exciting, then all of a sudden we get another flood of DMs all over again. So cross-chain is what we believe in. The next cycle that we're moving into is intelligence-based and interoperability-based. They both go hand in hand. And that's why we're excited that and fortunate that we have 3 awesome products that are built around interoperability and intelligence, because we're pretty confident that that's where the focus of the industry is going to be over the next few years.
Yeah. Also, like, I feel like you guys are kind of starting the meta of like, migrations being more seamless and using like a service provider. So, after this picks up and you guys are in your 3rd or 4th cohort, maybe that will be whenever the cross-chain stuff starts to get more attention, because they see that it's not as hard as it seems. You know what I mean? Because people have migrated from Solana or from Base to Solana. Like I think Virtuals did that, but that was a whole kind of internal thing that I think that they lifted themselves. But it was a lot, right? But if it's something to where you can just work with this third-party servicer and that becomes easy, it might be more frequently looked into.
Well, it's interesting in our position because we have 3 game-changing tools. And they're all effectively leaders or near leaders in their sectors, being a vaulting protocol in Emblem, NFT Bridge, with Agent Hustle being one of the top AI terminals on Solana, and then MigrateFun obviously being the top migration platform because it's really the only one that exists. So whenever we talk with these different blockchains, we have different introduction points to discuss, which also brings unique opportunities. So for example, and this is nothing that anyone else can do, I'm quite confident because they don't own or haven't built Emblem. But let's say, so right now we're working on our smart vault technology, which is something we've been wanting to build for a while. But now that we've hired another developer, we could free up some of Shannon's time as well as some other developers to kind of really focus back on the Emblem train. And so with a smart vault, we can build a fungible token bridge on top of many other things. And so think of it this situation where, we're deploying Agent Hustle on Base. Another opportunity is BSC, and both of the Converse, Binance, and our chain, and both leads that we've talked to from that chain have expressed that, if you bridge your token to these chains, and there's an opportunity to get listed on Coinbase or get listed on Binance Alpha. So Agent Hustle will be expanding to both of these. Obviously, we're going to be building our own Hustle bridge for another partner, blockchain partner. But you can then package this to say, oh, if you use our migration tool on Solana, we can also bridge a portion of your token to Base and to Binance, and you could potentially get listed on both of those alongside the migration itself, right? And so you could effectively create this three-way piece that nobody else can compete with. And that makes it even more attractive. It's really hard to predict if that will be successful or if that is what people want to do, but it's the edge that we have in being natively interoperable with a lot of these technologies, and also just being really good at explaining what we're doing and having trust with all of these different teams. And so it just makes me really excited about the future, because we have a pretty solid three-headed monster with our app ecosystem.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be a wait. There's more situation with you guys as well. You guys don't seem to be able to kind of sit straight. But I want to talk about this tweet you made this morning. So if you guys are not following at Jake Gallen, I highly recommend you do. But he said, you kind of mentioned a little bit. That's kind of why I feel like it's important to kind of go over market washing out and purging the end of what was a wild multi-year attention cycle, memes, socialify, celebrity coins, and prepping for the emergence of the intelligence cycle agents, DeFi, and DAI. Attention-focused products are here to stay and will be with us into the future. And we are now halfway through the consolidation of the sector. Could you get into this a little bit more? Because I found this really interesting. Do you think we're about to enter potentially a 2-year cycle of bullishness for these sectors?
The premise of it is that I don't think under the Trump administration we'll see elongated bear markets. I think there's just way too much bullish activity, the stripping of regulations between AI and crypto. There's just going to be a lot more building and new sectors popping up, which means new experiments, more funding. And so I just don't think, I could be completely wrong here, but a lot of people have been calling top. I don't think this is the top. I think the tops are now are going to be much more likely, or resemble much more to like the stock market, where you see an 8-month kind of consolidation period, and you see some like smaller sectors start to catch attention, and then you kind of resume the mega trend. And we're in the attention cycle. Those last few years, the cycle before that was utility with NFTs, right? So during the NFT cycle, it was using my NFT for token gating, using my NFT for tickets, like using your NFT for RWAs. Like we went through this whole utility cycle. Also on the DeFi side, right? Taking my NFTs and staking them and doing yield farming and all these different things that happened over a 2-year period between 2020 and 2022. And then these last 2 years between 2023 and 2025 was the attention cycle. It was SocialFi, meme coins, live streaming was really popular, and content creator coins, celebrity coins, right? All these kind of different the Laudio experience, like all these kind of attention-based things. But that's coming to an end. And it's pretty clear that is, right? The memes don't get just as much traction. And so you're going to see consolidation in the kind of attention markets, which is, I think, already kind of halfway through at this point in time. And really, the next 3 years, going from 2026 to 2028, probably, will be focused around intelligence, right? AI, agents of all different types, DeFi AI, things like Agent Hustle and trading terminals, DAI. These are things like what's it called? BitTensor, right? With like decentralized inference. There's obviously, you have like betting and all kinds of other things that are popping up. We saw OpenSea just released the their MCP server to select amount of people. So I think OpenSea is going to be kind of first to the market for a native AI companion of all of the like major protocols. And this was something that we were planning for as we were building Agent Hustle. We knew that this was going to be the case. And so this is what I mean, that's going to be the intelligence cycle. While the kind of attention projects all consolidate, a lot of the memes will go to zero. The rest will kind of focus in on kind of the top gainers. Things like SocialFi, you'll have a few winners, and it'll be kind of similar to like how it is now when you look back on the utility cycle and you have a handful of projects that are now kind of the leaders, right? Things like Yuga Labs and stuff like that. But within this next cycle, I think you also see an interoperability cycle, as we're starting to see it already taking place with Layer 0, you know, kind of bodying Wormhole, although both of them are doing really well with stablecoins, right? And pushing stablecoins all over the place. Emblem Vault, obviously with NFT interoperability as we continue to expand. Migrations are also intra-operability right now between Solana, but then it'll be interoperable when you move across chains. And yeah, this is why I kind of say that right now, I think we're just going to be in a consolidation period for, you know, a few months or so, and then the market will resume up, whether that's in December or January or February or whatever the day is. And it's just important to really prepare yourself, because I just think these macro crypto cycles last about 2 years. And for me, memes was 2023 to 2025. And you just see lagging results now. And there's a lot more money going into AI focused products and interoperability focused products, which is pretty much exactly what we've been talking about for the last few years, and just makes me excited. And I think people should be aware. Final point is that I put at the end of that post that when the boomers come in, or you call it TradFi institutions, whoever you want, we'll see ICOs, enterprise chains that we're already seeing with Stripe, and some of these other ones, and all these different stablecoin products. There's like the stablecoin chain just popped up recently. But when they come in, they're coming in with a lot more wealth than what exists in the current crypto markets. And they're going to basically pretend that they created all these things, right? So the boomers will come in, create ICOs. We'll get the stable, or the, what is it? The Stability Act, or whatever the market structure bill is, Clarity Act will come. And then all of these boomers and traditional stock traders will eventually navigate to ICOs, or the leaders will create ICOs. They'll sell it to their friends. The new people, the majority of people will have no idea ICOs exist. And so they're just going to basically productize it and pretend that crypto hasn't already gone through this experiment over the last 10 years, multiple times already. And so with that means that there's going to be a return to profitability, return to revenue. People in the industry right now are calling it the revenue meta, but revenue is not a meta. That's just how you value businesses. And those who have been trading stocks their entire life, they're going to basically take what they've been doing the last, few decades in terms of fundamental valuations, and they're going to apply it to crypto and the new projects. And so I think it's just important as a builder to recognize this, that as the market's becoming more mature, the way that we value things may not be the leading indicator heading into this next cycle, as a lot more money, it costs a lot more to operate interoperability protocols and intelligence protocols. And I think it positions us as a team really well. As long as we could survive, then we'll thrive.
Yeah, I actually agree with almost every single thing you said, and I've been saying that in some sort of way or another, just in different ways, right? That we are going into this area to where these people play with serious money that are going to come over here, and they're going to take it serious. So I think it's such a mature move for our space. I know some of the people aren't going to like it, but it is how it's going to happen, because they're going to dictate what's valuable and what's not, right? But you're already starting to see some of the established teams and environments finally start to roll out what their meta or their narrative was based on previously. And I think it's because now they feel comfortable. Okay, now we can actually act on what we've been talking about. An example of that is IP. Story Protocol, right? Recently, they teamed up with Azuki to roll out their IP. They just announced, I think yesterday, about Moonbirds. Moonbirds has been saved again, right? Okay, so their IP is rolled out, you know, and so now they're doing Story Protocols, doing what they said that they've been planning on doing. Another thing, Avalanche headlines today, they're tokenizing assets. You know, they've been talking about putting deeds and whatever and all these important documents on their chain. Now they're rolling out. So do you think that's happening because of what you said we're leaning towards? Is like, okay, now they got to show the value to these people with a bunch of money?
Yeah, precisely. RWAs will also be another thing that's really important heading into this next cycle. And yeah, trying to think of how to really explain this, but as the market becomes more mature, then the participants who are entering the market are going to use where they think their competitive edge is, and their competitive edge is going to be how to value companies. Obviously, memetics and some of these other ancillary properties that are used to value tokens will trickle into their way of valuing these different types of tokens. But with market maturity, you know, comes ever-changing dynamics to these kind of token ecosystems. And also, once different types of capital formation is institutionalized and is regulated, you're just going to see a gigantic flood come in. And yeah, it's important to really stay ahead. There was like a few other things that I had, but I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah, man. And I'm actually seeing this firsthand because I listen to a stock show every morning just to kind of learn the macro aspects of things. And they just partnered with Hive Blockchain, which is, you know, a Bitcoin miner. And so they have a crypto sector now. And the one guy said to the other guy, he was like, hey, how much did Solana make last year? And it was like, dude, it was just so abrupt that they don't have no idea how this stuff works. There's a Solana Foundation that, you know, they make money when the coin goes up, right? And it was just like, but there's products that live on the chain. So you guys both are 100% right. Like, these guys are entering crypto for the very first time, and they don't even know where to start, right? They're asking questions like, how much did Solana make last year? And it was just, yeah, I just wanted to add to that point. But yeah, 1,000,000% right.
Yeah, I think Ethereum. So one of the things I was going to say actually is I think Ethereum is a good example of how investors outside of crypto are looking at crypto comparative to what the crypto natives think. The most crypto natives fucking hate Ethereum. They think it's slow, right? High gas fees. It's antiquated, blah, blah, blah. But how Wall Street and institutional investors are looking at it is 100% uptime, very secure, has the most liquidity of all of the tokens, and they don't really care about the culture. Like, if you're transacting on Ethereum layer 1, you're going to have, you know, a 45-second transaction, and sometimes you could pay $20, $30. But if I'm an institution or even a large investor, I want to be sure that it's secure, and I will pay. If I'm moving 7 figures on ETH mainnet, right? I don't care if the fee is $1 or $50 or $100, right? I just want to know that it's going to go through and that's not going to fuck up. And actually, as we've been working on the Agent Hustle EVM expansion, and I've been looking a little bit more into ETH mainnet over the last few days, looking at all the popular protocols to see what to integrate. And one thing I had noticed is that Ethereum mainnet doesn't have a popular launchpad as every other L2 and Solana has. And I think the reason why is that when you look at all of the top performing protocols on ETH mainnet, it's all heavily DeFi protocols, right? The Aves, the EtherFis, right? The eigenlayers, the like very important DeFi. And even Vitalik came out recently and said that Ethereum's killer use case is DeFi. He's a low valued or low valued DeFi, but ultimately what he's finally caving in on is that DeFi is the edge that Ethereum has after he's been basically very combative towards that idea for the last 5 or so years. And so institutions are going to be transacting on Ethereum layer 1, and then a lot of the other specialized use cases will expand to the L2s that we're kind of seeing. And it's just an example of how people who are not crypto natives are looking at it, and they're like, yeah, you know, $5,000 for an ETH or $4,000 is fine. I know that it's secure, and it's the narrative. And so, you know, it's important right now to reset your thinking, because the last cycle is over and we're about to enter a very new cycle. Whether it's intelligence that leads the charge, whether it's interoperability that leads the charge, whether it's RWAs that leads the charge, it's going to be one of these. And or it could be stable coins, right, as well. So between these four, I think it's important to look at it and think, what is the commonality between all of these? And it's that these are revenue generating businesses. They're key pieces of infrastructure. They also intersect with the application layer, which is kind of where SocialFi and Solana really did a good job of really pushing crypto to the application era, past the infrastructure era. And now we're going to get a gigantic aggregate of it. And Emblem we're positioning ourselves in this way. This is why we set up Agent Hustle and started building the Agent Hustle SDK, because we're aware that, hey, these major protocols are going to be building AI companions like OpenSea, for example. But once that's finally accepted, everybody's going to need an AI companion of some sort. And for 99% of the teams, that are startups, they're not going to want to spin up their own AI infrastructure. It's very time intensive. It's very expensive, and also takes some experience to really understand it. And they're just going to want something that could be simple and plugged in, right? So that's where Agent Hustle is setting up migrations, interoperability, capturing on the growing Launchpad wars that are evolving to something a little bit different. And then Emblem Vault as key interoperability with NFTs and eventually be fungible tokens as well.
I feel like it's going to be like, kind of honestly, and this might be kind of sad a little bit, but it's going to be to where, getting into those like 100 to 1000x situations are going to obviously be fewer and far in between, but there are going to be like situations, for example, like if you were in Twitch early on, or like one of those smaller companies got acquired later on, Agent Hustle sounds like something that could be in that situation, right? That's where you can make that really big X, as opposed to kind of like how it still is a little bit where you're gambling on these meme launch pads, right? And you're trying to hit that like 1000x that way. That I think is going to start to fade off, but you're going to have more consistent, like, 5, 10, 15 type of X plays in solid areas, which I think is a sign of maturity as well. But it also gives a little bit of that advantage back to the big money, to where they know about the IDO. They can park like $5 million into it and make a 5x is great for them. You know what I mean? So it's really, you're going to have to research even harder, which is good. I think putting more effort into the space is going to be good, but it's going to be a more solid space with more foundation.
It's just important to know where your edge is. Right now, the crypto native's edge is that you understand the complexity of the on-chain economy, all the different L2s that are expensive, and what applications work where, what works on Bitcoin, what works on ETH, what works on Solana. Like, these people who are entering have no idea how any of that works. But also important to think about the net new retail user who's coming in will be much more familiar with using an LLM than they will be downloading a wallet extension. And with all of the teams that we've talked with and blockchain foundations and such, it seems to be a common agreement that most people are preparing for this outcome of the wallet being replaced by an AI. And this is why we're building Agent Hustle. It's just like all in one shop to trade on all these different chains. You don't need to download any wallet. You're just completely there from the start. And it's going to take these new institutional investors or traditional investors years to figure out all of this stuff. But probably they're not going to learn all of it. They're just going to take what they know and they're going to look for something similar to their experience and where their edge is. And they're just going to keep hitting the button and keep winning until it doesn't work anymore. And so it's important to understand from both sides. The net new retail user is going to be using AI. And then the net new traditional investor is probably going to be focusing on fundamentals a lot more. And that's exactly how we're positioning the company.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm just curious. Plasma launched yesterday, right? Plasma is Tether's chain. Really cool feature they have. With you'll have a debit card, potentially, and anything you have in that wallet, you're going to be able to spend, in Target, for instance, right? Could Agent Hustle like a benefit from a situation like that with a debit card and stuff like that, to where I'm just telling Agent Hustle to buy me stuff because my wallet is potentially in Agent Hustle?
Yeah, I mean that's the goal right now. So right now we're working on EVM and another top 25 blockchain integration. That's a partner. After that, we'll be expanding to like Base and a handful of these other ones. And then our developers are currently working on the massive overhaul to the conditional trading engine. And then also some intelligent tooling features that'll allow Agent Hustle to choose the tools for you so you don't have to. So we're trying to make this all completely dummy proof and end to end. And the goal is that as Agent Hustle becomes much more accepted as an intelligent token discovery platform, in theory, if we had BSC integrated, he probably would have found the Aster thing long before a lot of these other people have. And the way we're building it is you literally just click on a screen, whether it's Binance or whether it's Solana or Base or whatever, ETH mainnet, and you're there. But when you talk in the LLM interface itself, there's no clicking buttons. It's universal to all the different chains. And the goal is to have as many people subscribing to the elite tier of the Hustle subscriptions. And we're going to try to package our other applications into it as well and try to really roll out the model. I do have to give praise to Banker, who I think is doing an incredible job with their subscriptions, also as being the leading agent on the market as well. And also going a very organic route, same way we did, right? They didn't get any institutional investment until Coinbase Ventures recently, but they bought everything on the market. They had a really grassroots movement. And so they're doing a really good job at leading the industry as trying to be like a generalized social AI tool. But I think we have a major edge in the terminal experience over their kind of social Twitter experience. And that's what we're going to continue to lean into. And then eventually, launch mobile applications and such once we get there, or have a lot more resources to put more development on it. But the one-stop shop, we want Hustle, the Hustle app, all these different things to be as simple as just depositing some tokens, and then he does basically everything else for you. Obviously, he's not going to make all the money for you. There are some inputs and decisions that you have to make, but trying to make it as simple as possible. And we have a few people using Hustle who don't even know how to use anything else in crypto. So it's a pretty good case study.
Yeah, 100%. So Hustle EVM potentially November. What do you think?
Next month for sure.
October?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna.
We already have
that.
so
all the time.
ETH mainnet and our partner should launch next month, and then after that, I think it's a decision between or a combination between like Base, Binance, Hyperliquid, Abstract. There's a few other ones out there as well. We want to go after the ecosystems that have large market caps and thriving token economies. We're leading in with Agent Hustle as being intelligent token discovery first, and then automated tooling second. And so leaning into token discovery, you want to go where there's organic traction. There's other token ecosystems like Tron and XRP, and then obviously you'll have Monad and all these Bear Chain and all these other new chains is Sui, right? All these different things that pop up. So we're going to try to get as comprehensive as possible to expand to all these different chains. But yeah, I think like 2 chains a month is probably pretty good.
I think subscriptions will jump up, substantially when you guys have that one-stop shop feel, because it's all about convenience. Humans are about convenience. Honestly, that's been the biggest hurdle for mainstream adoption for our space, is that we have not been building for convenience at all, until this year, I feel like. So Hustle gets to a one-stop shop. You guys offer tokens on Binance, which means like Hustle has all these different wallets within it. You feel you're fine. You just go there. But the research is the same. Like you approach it the same way. Hey, find me the hottest token on BNB right now. Find me the hottest token on Sui. And I just know that like I would pay for you know, obviously if it's not crazy, I'm not going to pay $1,000 a month or anything, but I would pay, you know, $100, $200 a month if I'm just can go to that one stop place and have access across the board. Because that's actually the biggest reason why people miss out on stuff like Plasma or stuff like BNB. The Western people don't mess with BNB that much. They mess with Solana a ton or Base, but they could be benefiting by something like Hustle if it has BNB integrated in it.
Yeah, so subscriptions is a good point. The way that we're viewing it is very similar to Amazon. When you pay for Amazon Prime, you get all of these other ancillary services, right? You get some of the audiobooks from Audible credits. You get discounts for the bookstore. You get Amazon Prime, so free delivery. You get Amazon Prime Video. And you get access to the drop shipping services. So you get all of these different things. And we have 3 products right now where we're investigating on different ways to where we can accrue value to the subscriptions and then eventually to the tokens. We actually, in the next week will be 1 month since we've launched the subscription service. And so I'm looking at it now, 57 paying users, so 3% conversion rate with $3,000 in revenue. That's from 1 month. So our top tier is $100 in Hustle. And eventually we'll have a higher tier, which is like some sort of elite club kind of thing, kind of like what Banker does. But right now, it's accruing value to subscriptions, accruing value to the token, and ensuring that our users across all of our platforms are doing really well. So I know one thing that can easily accrue value is implementing our smart vaults into Agent Hustle subscriptions themselves, right? Like what Banker's done recently is to increase their subscription count. They've added yield on your USDC deposits because they partnered with Yearn. They built something with Yearn. They also just announced some sort of emergency fund where users can stake their Banker and earn Banker, I believe. But then those funds are used if there's any kind of like catastrophe within it. So with smart vaults, we essentially can do these yield optimization vaults where you plug Hustle into a vault, you know, you deposit money and then you tell them to go make you money and rebalance stablecoins, LP positions, whatever. There's companies who are raising literally 8 figures on just this one idea. And with a smart vault, we can just, an Agent Hustle, we probably will be a lot more efficient than they can. As well as, you know, staking vaults and different things like that. You know, there's cool opportunities and ideas where you can do like some sort of Hustle staking vault that gets a percentage of all the airdrops of all the migrations that happen, right? You take like 1 or 2% of migrations, you give them to stakers kind of thing. So there's a lot of cool cross-collaborative tokenomics that could be done across all of these. Obviously, with all of these ideas, only a handful of them will land and a handful of them will be implemented because we are limited on resources that currently, if we had, you know, $10 million, could probably build all this out pretty quickly, but that's not the case as of now. So lots of cool opportunities. Just to remember all of our users that we are a products company first, so we have to ensure the products work. Then you do tokenomics afterwards. I was very firm with this to the Koval community when I came in a few years ago. We're a product company. The product can exist without the token. The token cannot exist without the product. I know for speculators, that's a little annoying because you have to hold the token longer and you have to believe in something. But that's where the market is heading now. You need to have conviction and you're probably going to need to hold on a lot longer, which is how it was in 2021 in the utility cycle. And even some of the ICO cycle where you held these tokens for, you know, months to years at that point in time. And that's how you get the 10x, the 100x. I think the short term 100x for attention coins and stuff, they'll still exist. Casino is never going to stop, but it will change and it will consolidate. And so, yeah, that's kind of like the long-term strategy. Subscriptions, users, migrations, intelligence. Hope everyone's ready because crypto is going to undergo a gigantic transformation over the next few years as Clarity Act's installed, as all of these other things happen. And just be sure to not fall behind, whether it's from the retail side of things, becoming familiar with AI terminals, or from the traditional investor type that's going to be looking for long-term investments and not as much short-term.
Yeah, man, 100%. Just like, our man Soul Maverick says here, so many options and opportunities. We in good hands with this team, 100%, man. And you guys don't know, they do have the token that's powering everything. It's called the Hustle token. Get it on Radium right now.
It rebounded pretty well, actually.
What is it?
Said it rebounded pretty well from
yeah, dude. No,
got a higher low in. Looks like an inverse head and shoulders, if I'm looking at that correctly.
Oh yeah, there's the right. Yeah. Oh wow, Jake found something on the chart. Let's go. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, dude, this is gonna, in my opinion, we're gonna be up potentially breaking this line here first week of October. I mean, if this goes away, but this is consolidation. You're getting the weak hands out, strong hands in. I love seeing this. It's really awesome. So very, very bullish on this token, very bullish on what you got. I mean, at the end of the day, represents what you guys are building, right? So as long as you guys build amazing stuff like you have been, I can see this being way higher, potentially 100x from where it's at. But that's just my opinion. And you guys check out their migration. Migrate.fun is here. Just mess around with it. Go do a migration. See how easy and seamless it is. I have tutorials. We have tutorials on our channel. They got tutorials on their channel. Check them all out. Read through this. You said the documents are where? You said it's a menu and then docs. Okay.
Docs.
You guys can check out the docs here, everything here. But Jake, man, thank you so much for being here each and every week, man. I'd love to give you the stage one last time for anything that maybe you missed.
Buy some migration tokens. There's a lot of people speculating on migration meta and how there's going to be more projects. So look for the things that are undervalued. Shout out to all 14 teams who went through with this first group. Truly some pioneers. And if you believe in the vision that we are selling you, then buy some Hustle. Participate, buy a subscription, use Hustle. We're going to continue to expand it. The cool part of having 3 apps is that you could kind of rotate between the narratives. Whenever MigrateFun cools off, then you could focus on Hustle. Whenever Hustle cools off, we can focus on the new Emblem products. And you could kind of create this continuous narrative of people finding the token. One thing that I've noticed is when I talk with VCs about having multiple apps for one token, they don't completely understand. They say, why would you do this? It doesn't make sense. What if they become confused because there's one token that represents all the products? On the other side of this, I say, well, they found the token. Isn't that like 90% of the game, is somebody finding it and then doing an evaluation? It's like, I actually modeled this off of one of my friends she's a big YouTuber, and she does these live streams with different people in the real estate and content creation world. And she has the other person live stream as well, but she does 2 different, they do 2 different covers and 2 different titles of the YouTubes that represent 2 completely different things. But the communities then find them on one, but then it's only one video, right? And so we're kind of doing the same thing here, where 3 different apps that all have the same token. Some people will find it through Emblem. Some people will find it through Hustle. Some people will find it through MigrateFun. But then they come and find the whole package. And to me, and so far that we're seeing, it doesn't matter if they're confused. Like, the whole point of tokens is having people aware that the token exists. And so regardless what TV or entrance you're coming from for the token, so far it seems to be valuable, and all the VCs seem to be very confused.
Yeah, well, VCs want you to probably launch 2 more tokens because they want to be able to get into those 2 tokens early. That's their strategy. But appreciate you, Jake. Super busy guy. Thank you so much for your time every Friday, and have a good weekend, sir. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you guys soon.
See you, Jake. And you guys can, just, there it is right there. You guys go to that. You guys take your phone and scan that, and that'll take you right to migrate.fun. It's a new thing we'll be doing for all of our partners and stuff like that. So easy for you guys to go check out the website through the QR code. So definitely check out that. Scan that. Go over there. But this has been an absolutely amazing show. 754 people watching on a Friday. Absolutely amazing, guys. And remember, we are in the early stages of something truly special here in crypto. Whether you're just somebody who's just a mild investor or somebody who's all in like us, it's time for you to start doing research. It's time for you to start understanding what we're building here. And it's a green day. I'm here. Ethereum's over 4K, so that's always a good thing, right?
Absolutely. Seth Shepard was definitely trying to let us know that. I think he posted twice. He's like, yeah, definitely made me look at it again. So yeah, it seems like things are bouncing back right whenever I say, you know what, I'm just gonna zoom out and look at the thing. It's like, oh, maybe the shorter time frames actually works for once this week. But guys, you know, we really do appreciate you guys supporting us, you know, through the ups and downs, and we've had a lot of both of that, right? With a lot of you guys, you know, some of you guys have been with us since the start, and we're very, very thankful for that. And you got to pay attention, like Shizzy said, to segments like this. I mean, Agent Hustle, like these guys have a ton of experience. I think they put the right people in the right places on their team. They're running like a well-oiled machine. You know, don't pay attention to the day-to-day market caps of Hustle. You know, pay attention to what they're building and what they're delivering on, because it seems like they are delivering something every single day. You know, I mean, this is a huge lift that they just did, a cohort of 13 different teams, and people are waiting for that second cohort. So revenue is something I believe is going to be a main focus in this next, you know, couple years in our space. And then after that, it's going to be the norm of value in terms of, you know, these teams and stuff. But we appreciate you guys, you know, supporting us. Without you guys, we couldn't do this, but also without our partners, we couldn't do it as well. If you could check them out, we would greatly appreciate it. Sats Terminal is the DEX aggregator swap for the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. If you're going to swap for Bitcoin runes, alkanes, and very, very soon, I'm excited about this, Spark tokens, the BKTN, one way or the other. But those are, you know, what is the next thing right now in terms of Bitcoin fungible tokens, right? You got 3 launch pads that are revving up to be able to launch, and people are expecting liquidity, and Sats Terminal is going to be able to support that fungible token standard. So you got to be ready, because these 3 different launch pads are going to have 3 different contract addresses, but Sats Terminal is where you can get them all in one spot, right? Super excited about this team. They also have a borrowing and lending product. Go test it. If you go to satsterminal.com, you click on that third link, you can test it out. You know, just put some Bitcoin, small, you know, loan against it, right? Loan against your Bitcoin in a small way. I'm not saying that in financial advice, but it's really, you know, a place that you can test out a product that's going to be very, very high in demand, in my opinion. But head over to satsterminal.com, learn about the borrowing and lending product, as well as a place for you guys to trade and earn your Amber points. Amber points are going to be very valuable. I am speculating that, but I have a very high confidence in that.
Not financial advice, life advice. So do not sell your Bitcoin. Do not sell your Bitcoin. I mean, we learned that the last 15 years.
Not sell, you borrow against it, if anything, right? But yeah, Emblem Vault is the interoperability layer for the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you're going to borrow against your Bitcoin ordinals or Bitcoin NFTs, you got to do it at Emblem Vault. You can actually take your Taproot Wizards to Ethereum, take a loan out against it on the Gandhi application, and they're going to be opening up to other chains as well. Ethereum layer 2s and Bitcoin layer 2s like Merlin Chain, and then the Ethereum layer 2s like Arbitrum, Abstract, and of course Solana is on there as well. And speaking of Solana, you know, they have the best AI product in the Solana ecosystem. We just talked about it for the last hour there, Agent Hustle. If you go to agenthustle.ai, you can utilize it. There is a free version where you can kind of utilize the basic features there. You can ask it to find you some solid tokens on Solana. Hustle will bring back some options for you, and why he thinks that these are good options. Also, conditional trading is built into the Agent Hustle engine, so you can, you know, set some buy or sell orders with Hustle as well, and go take care of whatever you need to take care of. There's going to be some major, huge updates with Hustle, though. New environments, new, you know, you can kind of put 2 and 2 together with that. But if you want the advanced tool sets, which is going to allow you to do much, much more, there are subscription levels to it. And if you get the Hustle token, you can actually pay with that and get a discount. The Hustle token is a single token in the Emblem ecosystem. And so you definitely want to check that out as well. And then the Migrate.Fun product. The Migrate.Fun product launched officially with teams. You can see there, if you go to Migrate.Fun, all the teams migration. If you're a part of the community, you want to migrate over so you can be a part of the new you know, environment launchpad that they use. And if you're interested in being in the next cohort, go check it out. Check out what this process is looking like right now for these first 13 teams that are a part of this, right? And you can definitely join them. What they do is they make it very seamless for your community to migrate, and for you, they actually help get the token liquidity from one launch pad to the next that you want to migrate to. And of course, your community has to be on board with that, but that's something that you hash out with them. This is just the service that they provide for you guys. So head over to emblem.vision to learn about all these 3 products and the Hustle token itself. And then Artura.finance is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. Very soon, you're going to be able to trade synthetic Bitcoin fungible tokens like Dog Go to the Moon, Ordi, Sats. Sats went up 30% today, I think. And if some of these Spark tokens get some momentum and demand, they'll probably be on there too. They're also going to be adding synthetic derivatives like Coinbase and MicroStrategy. So really unique that these, perp DEX has those kind of products, right? So you want to pay attention to them and whenever they announce those new assets added. Also, there is a trading competition that ends on the 2nd of October. First place gets 5,000 USDC, and the next couple places will split 5,000 USDC between them, as well as 20,000 ARA tokens. And speaking of ARA tokens, they had their TGE yesterday. If you're interested in that, you can go to Aerodrome as they launched on Base, and you can go to their X account so you can get the exact contract address. But that is their token for their platform. And they're going to announce the utility for that token, which is going to be very, very big and related to the platform there. So head over to Artura.finance to learn more there. And then Tokyo Wallet is the multi-chain smart wallet that supports 3 different ecosystems right now and more to come in the future. They support Bitcoin. You can swap for Bitcoin runes. They support Cardano. You can swap for Cardano tokens, and they support Sui now. You can swap for Sui tokens as well. And as I mentioned before, they're going to be supporting other ecosystems and environments as well. They do have their token, which is a Cardano token, and you can actually stake it directly there in the application itself. If you have an iPhone, head over to the Apple App Store. If you have an Android, head over to the Google Chrome Store or Google Play Store, I should say. Download the application. Let us know what you think about it. There is a education and alpha section. You'll find our YouTube channel and other YouTubers as well there. Head over to Tokyo.io to learn more there. And then Merlin Chain is uniting Bitcoin strength through the power of AI. They have an AI tool as well that's really awesome called the Wizard version 2.0, which you can actually swap from Merlin Chain to into Solana tokens or BNB tokens as well. It is free in their ecosystem there, but you do have to have Merlin Chain BTC to swap. Also, the Wizard will guide you through the Merlin Chain ecosystem to make swaps within Merlin Chain, as well as staking. And speaking of staking, they have a proof of stake system for their security of their chain. And there's 3 ways for you guys to participate. First is staking Bitcoin to earn Bitcoin. This is a really hot product category. Institutions that invested $55 million into the Merlin Chain product here. But as a retail user, you can participate. You do have 4 days left because it does close on September 30th. But I am very sure that they're going to be opening a new vault. But stay tuned and make sure you're following their Merlin Chain account on X for that announcement for that. And then on average, you earn 16% APR, by the way, on that Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. And then there's 2 Merlin Chain tokens. There's the flexible, which is a day-to-day. You earn on average, well, not on average, you just earn straight 15% APR with this one. And then you can claim every single day. You can claim and roll that into your compound interest strategy if you want to do that, or you just keep it, right? Or sell it, whatever you want to do with it. There is a 7-day cooldown period if you want to withdraw from the flexible option here. And then there is the bonded option, which is a 6-month lockup period, but you earn a 45% APR. Same thing, though. You can actually claim those rewards every single day and compound interest that if you want. And then head over to merlinchain.io to learn more there. They were at Korea Blockchain, and they're going to be at Token 2049, of course, because it's in their backyard in Singapore. Swing by their booth if you're interested in that and say what's up. Their team is awesome. And then lastly is our guys from Ordinal Hive. Ordinal Hive is the fastest ordinal marketplace in the entire industry. If you buy an ordinal on Ordinal Hive, you get it right away. If you sell one, I think it takes 1 block, but they're trying to get that Bitcoin to you faster as well. They do have their Ordinal Hive B collection, which minted fully out about 3 weeks ago. 70% is staked on Stake It. And they have amazing trader tools. So take advantage of their platform. You can see what's chilling in the mempool, about to, go through a block and try to maybe steal one of those ordinals that are mispriced or something like that. But head over to ordinalhive.io to learn more. And thank you guys for hanging out with us. This month hasn't been the easiest, but you guys have been with us, through this entire time. We're so grateful for that. Thank you guys so much.
Yep. Great job, man, as always. And check out onchainrevolution.io. That's a QR code right there for it. And check out the website as well. We have a brand new article that just dropped this week, Hyperliquid versus Aster. Maybe we got to throw in that third one as to Lighter seems to be on track there. But this is all about how you guys can take advantage of this war between these dexes, man. These dexes are making insane amount of money, and how you guys can potentially be a part of that. Definitely check out this article here and many articles there as well. There a bit and so much more. Check out all of our articles. If you know someone just entering a space, send them our website. Really feel like getting to help them get started. And check out our VPN, NordVPN. I use it every single day, guys. Highly recommend it. Now they added 3 more months. You get 2-year plan with 3 months extra. All you got to do is pay $3.09 a month. Lock it in for 2 years. Set it, forget it. This will allow you to use stuff like Hyperliquid. This will allow you to use stuff like MEXC. I use MEXC almost each and every day. It is my chain of choice, because it's so cheap. I can deposit in there, make a swap, withdraw. I do treat it like a public bathroom, though. I'm in, I do my business, and I get out. But it is the cheapest way to do that. And you guys can use MEXC without no KYC, all through our link here with Nord, and get it for $3 a month. Lock it in, set it, forget it. But head back to OnChain Revolution. We got some of the best merch, guys. I'm going to be adding more merch this weekend as well. Last weekend, I added some hoodies. I'm going to be purchasing one of these myself. Really bullish on the maroon here, or I don't know what color that is, the reddish color. But definitely check out here. We got hats, jackets, hoodies, and so much more. We got that Trench Kitty himself. But check out everything here at onchainrevolution.io. Remember, guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You not bullish enough, no. You're not bullish enough, no. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed, gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain Revolution.